Mic check. That was a close one. I was fixing the microphone. We almost didn't have a microphone. We almost had to start over, but I figured out a workaround. I did make Admir a liberal. I don't know if Admir's here or not, but Admir is clearly a liberal, and he hates that we say it. So let's keep saying it and make his life as bad as possible. Happy Wednesday, everybody! It's Hump Day. Good to be here. Got a hell of a show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But first, I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys all being here. You are my only friends, and I appreciate it. Mary said, let's get some reps in the box. There we go. Yeah, get some Republicans up here. Let's talk. I wanted to address a comment that came through last night. I wasn't seeing them. Leafy Greens said, I heard you talk about ranked choice voting a bit ago. In Alaska, we use ranked choice, and it unites a lot of division. Do you think the U.S. could benefit from this process if it was more standardized? Yeah, absolutely. Like the party system, the reason everybody hates it is the barrier to entry. You have to have so much money, and then you have to get so many signatures that good candidates who don't want to necessarily align with a party, or good candidates who, when I worked in the GOP, there were a handful of candidates that came through on the state level that I worked with that were really, really good candidates, but they hadn't done the work in the party. And so the party consistently put up just like these generic rubber stamp Republicans. And I'm sure this happens in the DNC as well. I've never worked in the DNC. Woo! There's the magic. Take a look. Take a good look at my face. Fuck. All right. We're just going to do this today. Is this what we're doing? There we go. There we go. And so, yeah, I do think ranked choice is a great idea. I think you get rid of Citizens United, add in ranked choice, and I think you immediately have a better system with more qualified candidates. Let me hop in the VC real quick before Jen yells at me. I was close. I almost had everything done on time today, and then I realized I didn't have my water, so we were real close. Thanks for hanging out last night, though, with Admir. I thought we had a good time. I feel the same way. Like every Wednesday morning, I feel like, all right, MAGA might be done, because we go through those debates and there's just nothing there. There's nothing for MAGA to defend. There's only whataboutism, and then Wednesday I show up and I prep for the show, and then I go on the interwebs, and I'm like, oh no, they're still cooking. They're still out there trying to say some dumb shit. A bunch of you sent me this on TikTok, so I'm just going to cover it now. I have been unable to fact check this so far, but I know parts of this are true. So this is a video that is shout out to this creator. This is Caress Marie, CARRESS MARIE 4. I should probably give them I'm not logged in. That's why I was going to say I thought I followed them. This has gone viral this morning regarding the South African immigrants. So I thought I'd show it. If any of you guys have extra details on this that I don't have, let me know in the chat or send it to Jen.
All these South Africans are going to go. Don't worry. They already had a plan in place. And it was called Acre Trader. That's right. They already took the farmland from farmers who were failing. As a matter of fact, they have about 40,000 acres of farmland that they took from American farmers.
Here's what I want to admit first, before we get called conspiracy theorists. The Acre Trader stuff has been going on for a while. A lot of people have made videos about Acre Trader, and a lot of people made a lot of predictions. This is the first time I've seen anybody be able to link Acre Trader to an action by this administration.
because they wouldn't give them subsidies. Acre Trader is an American real estate investment company that specializes in farmland. It says here that the company aims to increase investor access to real estate assets and provides capitals to farmers and growers to expand their business. But what they failed to leave out here is that the first investor into Acre Trader was none other than J.D. Vance. You know J.D. Vance, the one who was in charge of the White House with the president who is cutting all the subsidies to the farmers? Yeah, that J.D. Vance. And what they also failed to mention is the fact that the people who were investing, yeah, they were South Africaners. And guess who just came to America to go on these farms? That's right, you guessed it. Are you sick of it yet? Are you sick of it yet? $880 billion being pulled from Medicaid so they can fund tax money going to the rich. Your farmland being taken away from American farmers and being given to South African refugees. People being human trafficked all over the United States.
That's about the end of the video where I wanted to go to. I don't know. I don't have a direct link there. A lot of people asked. I'm not sure. I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that assumption, but it would make sense. Daddle said it seems like a lot of Democrats just vote for whoever says what they want to hear without actually looking into what they've accomplished politically. Daddle, if you think that is unique to the Democratic Party, I think you're wildly mistaken. Donald Trump didn't run on a policy, and he didn't debate, and he won his first time around with no political accolades. So you guys you literally, the first time around, you just voted for Trump for what he said. You didn't look into his life. Like, if you had looked into the life of Trump, you would have known that every business he ever started failed. You would know that he left a trail of small businesses holding the bag for the bills that he refused to pay because he's not a guy that pays his bills. You would know that there were 30-plus women who had accused him of sexual assault. You guys didn't look into any of that. I was a Republican when that happened. I promise none of you looked into that. In fact, the Steele dossier, that thing that you guys blame Hillary Clinton for, that was an attempt by some Republicans to look into Donald Trump. But when they tried to get that information out to other Republicans were like, we don't care. He says mean things about Hillary, so we're voting for him anyways. If we're going to talk about like what qualifies somebody to be president, being a multiple time failed business person doesn't qualify you. In fact, being a businessman in general does not qualify you to run the government, to be an executive. This isn't a business. I don't know if anybody's realized that. And if it was a business, it would be just like every other Trump business where he ran up the debt and then he gutted it for parts before he sold it off or declared bankruptcy, which is kind of the theme of the show today. Donald Trump selling off the United States for parts, getting lavish gifts, and frankly, I think Donald Trump has a crush. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I do think that Donald Trump might have a new crush, and I think Melania should probably watch out. Red Fox said, "Go Jay, keep ignoring the haters. Afrikaners suck." Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. Pink said, "We can volunteer to help transcribe Library of Congress documents at crowd.loc.gov. Thanks, Jay and Jen." That sounds like my nightmare, and I also know that sounds like something that a lot of you would like to do. So there you go, crowd.loc.gov. You can transcribe the Library of Congress documents. Johnny, bro, get a better one. Propagandist clown. All right, we're gonna talk about. Speaking of propagandist clowns, I'm gonna talk about Donald Trump's new crush. Trump went to Syria, and he lifted the sanctions that have been placed on Syria. I'm gonna be honest. I think that there's a lot of people that are criticizing this, and I think that there's a lot of people that criticize this for the wrong reasons. One of the only reasons I liked Tulsi Gabbard when she was a Democrat is because I thought that her opinion on regime change wars was correct. And I think our intervention across the world generally leads to us getting stuck in forever wars, and it hurts innocent people. So dropping the sanctions on Syria, at least in the way that they're being laid out, I don't know that I'm hugely against that. In fact, I'm not against that. I could be swayed maybe. But Trump was over in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. He met with the Syria's interim president, who's Ahmad al-Shara. And Trump told reporters that Chirac was young. He was attractive. He was a tough guy and a strong past. I'll have that actual video there. Trump was crushing hard. Said he's got a real shot at pulling it together. Trump said that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Turkish President Erdogan, I don't know how to say it, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, had asked him to remove the sanctions. It's not going to be easy anyway, so it gives them a good, strong chance, and it was my honor to do so. The U.S. had slapped sanctions on Syria several times over the past 20 years, aimed at the regime of Bashar al-Assad, who had taken over the country following the death of his father, Hafez al-Assad. And Hafez had ruled Syria for decades with an iron fist. Again, this is one of those, this is the administration or the regime that Tulsi Gabbard got a bunch of heat from for going to visit when she met with Assad. But the sanctions had remained in place after Assad fled the country in December in the wake of a surprise lightning campaign led by Chirac and his coalition of rebel fighters. He did go to Russia. He did flee to Russia. So I don't know. Trump has a very complicated network of crushes. Chirac was himself on the U.S. list of designated terrorists at the time for his past links to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, but that designation was swiftly removed as Chirac vowed to build an inclusive society with protection for all Syria's myriad ethnic and religious minorities. There are still the remnants of 9/11 where anybody who was even remotely linked to Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State or Islamic fundamentalism was labeled as a terrorist. And look, if you look at what our country's doing right now in the way that we're labeling people terrorists, the way that we're using the Alien Enemies Act to claim that people are members of gangs when we don't really have evidence of that, and labeling everybody who we don't like a terrorist, it's important to remember we did that after September 11th, too. Republicans and Americans have this tendency to overreact to things, overgeneralize things, and so I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if at one point the United States had listed you as a terrorist. That being said, Chirac did some terrorist activities. I don't know if any of them were directed at the United States. I'm not an expert there, so if he did, let me know. But Chirac has shown himself to be an able diplomat and has toured the Arab world and other nations trying to ease those fears and raise support for an end to sanctions and his effort to rebuild the country. This month, he flew to Paris to meet with Macron, who has also called for the easing of his sanctions. Chirac and those around him have even hinted at friendly ties with Israel, which has been carrying out a series of airstrikes in Syria since the fall of the Assad regime. Trump's asking them now to sign the Abraham Accords, as if that is... I don't know if Trump knows that the Abraham Accords aren't a peace agreement. I don't know if he knows that yet. I don't know. I still don't know if he's figured out what Kushner did. He never really talks about the fact that Kushner got $2 billion after signing a peace agreement between countries who were peaceful. Johnny said, "Good morning, everyone, even the shitheads." Congratulations, shitheads. You got a good morning there from Johnny. Let me check these two. Sorry. These are loading slowly. Give me 1 second. Jamie said, "Happy Wednesday." Thanks, Jamie. That was very generous. Andy says, vegetarian veteran, vegetarian veteran, veterinarian, vegetarian veteran, veterinarian, vegetarian veteran, veterinarian. That's not as hard as I thought that was going to be. I expected that to be harder. Yeah, Tex is just being racist, like always. It's good. Thanks for paying me, Tex. It's good to have your money again today. Thanks for all the donations over the last couple weeks. All right, I wanted to show this clip though because Trump was getting real aggressive with his flirting on this trip. Here's the quote I read earlier about Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara. Here's how Trump describes him.
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass, very strong pass fighter. But he's got a real shot at pulling it together, right?
I don't know. I think he is. He's strong. He's handsome. I don't disagree with Trump there. But besides, like everything I just said about why I think it's okay to ease sanctions on Syria. Oh shit, I forgot that this doesn't work. I forgot that doesn't work. I can pull it from my. It doesn't matter. I'll just explain it. Everything I just said about Syria and easing the sanctions, I think it has very little to do with Trump wanting to do the right thing. I think it has very little to do with diplomacy. I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that Syria announced a Trump Tower Damascus, and the other people who have been like giving him piles and piles of cash for the last year also asked him to do it. And I think that's really what we're seeing here. This is the most transparently, easily bought president ever. Maybe the amount to buy this president is higher than other presidents, but by God, this guy will change our entire foreign policy in a day. You just give him some money and he'll just flip our entire foreign policy. Some of the moves he's making, I'm fine with. But it is weird that he makes these flips right after he gets a whole bunch of money or some sort of licensing deal. This wasn't it wasn't even unusual. Like Trump's been doing this before the plane controversy. Trump he used to always complain about foreign gifts. The famous story is of Abraham Lincoln, and the way this works, just so we're clear, on the emoluments clause. If you want to get a gift from a foreign entity, what you have to get permission from Congress to take that gift. That's one of the checks and the balances. So, like Abraham Lincoln, he wanted to get some elephant tusks. I don't remember who gave him the elephant tusk. If anybody remembers who gave him the elephant tusk, might have been Egypt. I can't remember. And he wanted to keep them, so he went to Congress, and Congress is like, "Yeah, they're cool, but even this, like, even the look of this is wrong. So no, you can't have the elephant tusk." We've come a long ways from this looks wrong to Mike Johnson. Like, well, I don't know. Why can't he take a plane? Are we sure? I don't know. I have no expertise on that. We've come a long way from that. Everybody used to think that it was not okay for the president to get bribes and to be given lavish gifts. We just sent Bob Mendez to jail. He's going to jail because he took gold bars as gifts. I'm very confused how gold bars are a problem and you should be in prison. Big fucking plane, crypto donations, real estate deals, those are fine. But gold bars? No, we can't do gold bars. That's not gonna work. Here's Trump being flirty again. I don't know what he's doing, guys. Trump just had a flirty morning. He's feeling himself. I think he's getting a lot of attention. He put on his purple. It might be the purple tie. He was and again yesterday. I told you I like the purple tie. It's a good look for him. He's feeling himself clearly, and he's talking about all the hot guys he's checking out over there in Saudi Arabia.
We are rocking. The United States is the hottest country, with the exception of your country, I have to say, right? I'm not going to take that on. No, Mohammed, I'm not going to take that on. Wouldn't that be a terrible thing if I made that full statement? But I will not do it. You're hotter. At least as long as I'm up here, you're hotter. But groceries, gasoline, we are rocking.
I don't know. So they're just hot. Which just made me laugh. I think he's talking about economic hotness. I don't know if Saudi Arabia is hotter. I think they're just giving out more money right now. They're just handing out cash right and left. But Trump just keeps telling them they're hot, which is nice. It's a nice thing to say to people. People want to hear that. People want to hear that they look good. So I applaud Trump for going over there and telling them how hot they are. Here's Rubio and Scott Bessent doing their very best. You got to give Trump a timer. If you give Trump a microphone, he's just going to go on forever. And Rubio and Bessent, they've heard all this shit 1,000 times. They're doing their very best to. Also, is this a thing? Why is everybody sitting like this? Is this a thing? Is it just because like that's where they put the armrests? Like they put the armrests up that you have to sit like this in Saudi Arabia? Is that like a sign of respect? I don't know what that is. Or is that just a happenstance that 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are doing that exact same thing?
But
he's talking about the climate. Yeah, sure he is.
understand, and we're doing what a lot of smart people would do, and we're not necessarily being politically correct. You saw what we did yesterday with health care. We've cut our health care by 50 to 90%. But they understand.
No, they didn't.
And, we're doing
No, they didn't. First of all, that would not be politically incorrect to cut healthcare prices. That would be a giant win, and that didn't happen. This is what Republicans are celebrating now, by the way. In the debates yesterday, if you go onto into Republican debates, this is literally what they're celebrating, that Trump lowered prescription prices. Even though Trump didn't lower prescription prices, nothing has been done. The 50 to 90% is just a number he's making up, and it won't lower all prescription drug prices. At best, if he can get those prices down 50 to 90%, you're talking about Medicare, you're talking about the VA, you're talking about Medicaid. But what you're not going to get is you're not going to get a 50 to 90% drop in just your regular prescription prices. This is not a real thing. It's just what they're telling you. So I don't know. I guess you guys are happy. Are you guys happy? Where's the Trump people? Are they here today? I guess you guys are happy. We're happy with all this. Is this doing anything for you? You getting anything out of this? Trump got a plane, so you feel like that's good for you. Here's Trump talking about the plane. Just openly now. He's like, what the fuck am I going to do? Not take a bribe? You're telling me that if somebody tries to bribe you, I should just not take the bribe?
These planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE.
That's a good point. Gas is negative $1.79 a gallon. They in Trump's America now, when you go to pick up gas or go to get gas, they pay you $1.79 a gallon. With this bribe, like Trump's like, what am I going to do? Not take it? He also is obsessed with appearance. And this is what baffles me for you conservatives. I want you to listen to this. You all recognize, because I've heard all of you say it. You all say like, oh, we're spending too much, the deficit, waste, fraud, and abuse. And then you turn around and this president's like, my plane's not the coolest. I need the coolest plane because in America we have to have the coolest plane.
Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and
Johnny, he didn't say Medicare. He said drugs. He can't control drug prices. He only has leverage for Medicare, the VA, and Medicaid. That's why I said it's Medicare. Of course, he's not saying that because, spoiler, this guy lies a lot. And he just makes shit up that isn't happening, like that he's going to lower prescription costs by 50 to 90%. That's not going to happen. But you guys will say it for 4 years. Because he wrote an executive order, you'll celebrate it like it actually got done. And when the prices don't go down, you won't even notice because your head is inside of his rectum. And in order to see the world, you got to pull that head out of his rectum and look at the world. That's the important part.
you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it. This is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And, you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things. And we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you
I figured out the volume. I couldn't change it on here. I got the volume up. Sorry about that.
shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished.
Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's for you, dude. Because it's not for the if this plane was for the United States, like if they were just giving us, they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to pay for your Air Force One. Then we could do it because it's not a gift to him. But this gift is specifically to like his library. It's not for the United States. So you can't take that gift. But again, his reasoning for taking it is, well, our plane's old and everybody has cooler planes than us. He's just showing up like with a beat up plane, I guess. He feels like Air Force One is this beat to shit plane that's not sufficient for him. I think it's weird. I think it's a weird thing to do right now, where the Republicans in Congress are cutting funding for poor people. You literally have Medicare recipients in Congress today protesting. You have people losing their homes. You have people losing their jobs. You have people losing their 401ks, and Trump's out there like, why can't I just have a plane? Little girls, they only need $2, but I need another plane. I got to have it. Why wouldn't I take another plane? It's going to cost billions of dollars to retrofit it, to make it work. But why shouldn't I have it? I should just have a plane. I don't know. I saw something yesterday that said he's been flying on that plane. Does anybody know if that's true? Has he been flying on that plane? That would be a wild. Just think about if Saudi Arabia gave him that plane and they bugged it, or they put listening devices in there. If he's using that plane, that's wild. You can't just go use somebody's plane from a foreign country without getting that checked out, without it getting. I mean, Air Force One is Air Force One for a reason. It's extremely secure. It has technology that allegedly other countries don't even know about. If we're worried about Trump's safety, I don't know. Maybe fuck it. Let him fly the plane. Here are some new details coming out. Conservatives you can check out because there's the CNN logo right here. You guys can check out. But Anderson Cooper did a great job laying out some of the new details on that plane from Qatar. Turns out it's going to cost $750 million if you want to retrofit this for the president.
Keeping him honest with breaking news about that 747 the Qatari royal family is giving to President Trump, which he will keep, he says, for his life.
Johnson, they don't need to spy on him. He'll just tell everybody everything anyways because he never shuts up. That's fair.
After leaving office. We learned today that it could take 2 years and $750 million or more to bring the plane up to Air Force One standards. Now, that's according to a person familiar with the matter. $750 million or more to take it apart, check for surveillance devices, then refit it with the defenses, communications gear, and all the rest a commander-in-chief needs. In short, all the gear already on the 747 he flew to Saudi Arabia for a day of pomp and ceremony, fighter escort included, and which he'll fly in just a few hours to Qatar for more of the same. His current 747, though, aging, already has all of that, and so will the new 747 Boeing is building, which is years behind schedule, as the president has pointed out, but which the company now says it could deliver in the next 2 years. In other words, about the same delivery time as the one the president says he'd be stupid not to take.
I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person, say no.
Yeah, you could be. You could be.
We don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
We aren't getting the plane. And this is where Trump goes into like lie mode. He never keeps his story straight. We aren't getting a plane. You are getting a plane. We are getting nothing. You are getting a plane, and we will have to spend millions of dollars in order to retrofit it so that you can have it. Our taxpayer dollars will have to go to your plane. We don't get shit. We just get the bill.
Right. But I thought it was a great gesture.
Well, that notwithstanding, the gift, which Mr. Trump actually took a tour of back in February, raises ethical, constitutional, foreign policy, and national security concerns, some or all of which a number of Republican lawmakers and other Trump loyalists are speaking about. Here's Senator Mike Rounds, who sits on the Intelligence Committee, comparing the plane to a Trojan horse.
It seems to me that the Greeks actually had something like that happen one time, a long, long time ago.
Now, for the MAGA here in the chat, that R right there next to South Dakota, that means Republican. So I know this is CNN, but this is a Republican. So you can listen to this guy.
Somebody happened to have brought a golden horse inside of a community. This aircraft is beautiful, and it would be great if we could accept it, but security concerns are also there.
Well, Senator John Cornyn, also on the Intelligence Committee, said off camera, I just know that our adversaries are pretty creative at planting all sorts of listening devices and other sensors, so I'd be very concerned about that. Senator Lisa Murkowski, also off camera, said, when you get something of that value...
The R means rhino. Sorry.
From a country, one typically thinks that there's something in it for the country that is offering it. So I think there's certainly a lot of questions. Senator Rand Paul is opposed on ethical grounds.
There is a provision in the Constitution that says you can't do this. I think it's not worth the appearance of impropriety. Whether it's improper or not, I don't think it's worth it.
Other GOP lawmakers, though, are showing less firmness in their views on the matter. Senator Josh.
Maybe my argument of retrofitting is grasping, little guy. Are they not going to have to retrofit it? Why is that grasping? Explain that to me. By the way, you guys are welcome to come up here and talk to me about any of this. You just got to message Jen, that Venmo username, JenDub1. That's also her Discord username. You can message her. What are you talking about, though? What a fucking stupid thing to say. Grasping? I'm just telling you a thing that exists. That's like saying the sun is out right now. Oh, it's grasping that the sun is out. No, bitch. They have to change things. The Saudis didn't give them a plane that was ready to go. You have to retrofit it. That's just a thing that exists and is true. How's that a grasp? Well, the thing is that I don't really care if we give all of our money to Trump because I suck his dick for a hobby.
Hawley says he'd prefer a Made in America plane, which, other than the interior done by a French design firm, it is. Senator Tom Tillis seems to be approaching the question as the management consultant he once was.
And then you got to work through the cost benefit of it, right? I mean, we're in a world of Doge, so.
Oh, there's another R, and we're going to bring up Doge. You guys like Doge. We like waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's another R here, another rhino.
Approaching the question as the management consultant he once was.
Michael, maybe I don't read all the comments. You can come up here. Do you see how many people there are here, bud? Why don't any of you guys have any courage to have this conversation one-on-one? I read the comments that I read, Michael, but Republicans, please, for the love of God, reach down between your legs. There may be some things down there that you could hold on to give you courage. Hold on to it. Message Jen and come up. I'm not going to debate you guys all day long in the fucking comments. I have a microphone for a reason. Just come up here. Let's have a conversation.
Then you got to work through the cost benefit of it, right? I mean, we're in a world of Doge, so we got to figure out whether it's worth upfitting or writing a check, selling it, and writing a check to the Treasury and help us with our debt reduction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so it might be too expensive? You guys, remember, we ran on and you guys loved talking. Oh, my God. For a month, I had to hear nothing but Doge. You guys were out here just jerking off Doge every single day. Well, they weren't doing anything, and you were still jerking them off. And now Doge has gone, you're like, yeah, fuck that. We're back to let's just spend all the money. We've decided instead of cutting waste, we're going to increase it.
Majority Leader John Thune, on the other hand, would not weigh in at all because it seems it's just not real to him yet.
I don't think there's anything official out there. This is a hypothetical, and I'm sure that if and when there is,
that's another R there.
No longer a hypothetical. I can assure you there will be plenty of scrutiny of whatever that arrangement might look like.
Senator Joni Ernst tried a version of the old "I haven't seen the tweet" answer, telling CNN's Monteragio, "I haven't heard specifics about the plane. I don't know anything about it." As for Democrats, there's widespread criticism, of course, with Senate Majority Leader Schumer saying he is placing a blanket hold on all Justice Department political nominees until he receives answers on the plane. However, that hold can be overcome by a simple majority, which Republicans now hold. And some Republican lawmakers, such as
he's doing it to pressure Boeing. Guys, this is 4D chess. He's not taking bribes. He's not taking bribes. He's doing it. It's 4D chess. It's leverage. It's leverage. Shut up.
And a congressman, former Trump Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke, he's apparently not worried.
Do you have any ethics concerns or constitutional concerns?
I'm glad Pam Bondi stepped in and looked at it from a legal point of view, which is helpful.
Oh, yeah. R, Montana. God, what is this? Fox News? It's just R after R after R.
Again, I'll go back. This must be one heck of a plane, because he was on Air Force One. I've been on Air Force One. Right. To me, it's a nice plane. Evidently, remember who President Trump is. He's a billionaire businessman from New York. He doesn't sleep in a sleep bag overnight. You know, he's making deals, and I think it's transactional to him. He looks at it and goes, hey, it's a better airplane. His comment was, you'd be stupid not to take it. I think that's from a business point of view because he is a business guy. He goes out and, he's making...
Yeah, notice how nobody gave him airplanes when he was a businessman. They're only giving him airplanes now when he's the president. That's the problem here. He didn't get free airplanes when he was a businessman. In fact, he bought some airplanes and he started his own Trump Airlines and it went under. That's the problem here. He's thinking like, oh, they're giving this to me because I'm a great businessman. No, they're giving it to you because you're doing them favors right and left.
Deals everywhere, and he's Mr. Deal Maker.
Well, keeping him honest.
If it's a bribe, why isn't there an impeachment hearing? Because you guys own the House and the Senate. And he hasn't taken delivery of it yet. If Trump takes delivery of this plane, You can probably assume somebody's going to drop articles of impeachment, and Republicans won't care because none of you care, honestly. Do any of you care? Any of you Republicans care that Trump's being bribed right now? If Trump takes the plane and he just gets to keep it, raise your hand if you're a Republican, and that would bother you.
You may remember that as Interior Secretary, he was found to have broken ethics rules while in office by the department's Inspector General. The congressman's seal of approval or not, there is criticism as well from some of the president's biggest backers in the right-wing media world.
Taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Jazeera, all the rest. That's not America first.
Noted liberal, communist, socialist propagandist Ben Shapiro here. We can't listen to Ben Shapiro about Trump because he's just a Trump hater.
Please define America first in a way that says you should take sacks of cash from the Qatari royals who are behind Al Jazeera. It just isn't America first in any conceivable way. So back to the original question. Is this good for President Trump? Is it good for his agenda? Is it good for draining the swamp and getting things done? The answer is no, it isn't. It isn't. If you want President Trump to succeed, this kind of skeezy stuff needs to stop.
Laura Loomer, another fierce Trump loyalist, says she cannot support the president on this, but his staunchest critic might just come from out of the past, namely from Donald Trump. Writing about President Obama in 2012, his tweet reads, "How many illegal foreign donations will Obama collect this final week?" Another scandal ignored by the liberal media.
And those were campaign donations. Those are just campaign donations, not money going directly into their pockets. Remember, that's who Trump was. Like, Trump was a guy who just claimed the government was corrupt, and then he was a billionaire, and he was going to uncorrupt the government. And then he comes into the government, and he's just more corrupt. I think what Trump was really doing I think he was just jealous. I think he was jealous of Obama. I think he was jealous that people were getting money, and while at the time in 2018, just he's looking at like his business is like, fuck, fail. God damn. Oh, apprentice ratings? That'll help. My apprentice ratings are going up. Oh, those are in the shitter too. Oh no, I'm going bankrupt. What should I do? I know. I'll run for president. And then he ran for president, and suddenly, magically, all of his businesses that were failing started making money. And suddenly, he has a failing media corporation that somehow is still, the stock price keeps going up. They bleed money every month, but the price is going up. And then he became a crypto expert, and now he has a cryptocurrency where he keeps 75% of the profits for himself, and he's making hundreds of millions of dollars. But yeah. No, this totally isn't corruption, guys. It's totally not corruption. Jen, hey.
I mean, it makes sense to me that it's not corruption. I mean, everyone in the comments saying that you're just jealous. It's entertaining. So last night was fun.
Sure.
Did you stay on and listen at the end?
Like after I dropped?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Abner was baked. Did you clip it?
He was. I'm going to.
Right.
He was struggling so hard. He's like, Jen, can you end this for me? It was pretty funny. Anyways, so just want to remind everybody we've got a gift goal. If you look in the top left-hand corner, that's the remaining balance for our gift goal. This is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. And we are crowdfunded, so that's how we can do this each day. If you haven't already subscribed to us on Twitch and YouTube, please do so. On Twitch, you can use the Amazon Prime sub. It won't cost you anything. You can subscribe for free on YouTube. But if you'd like to support us and choose one of our 4 memberships, that would be awesome too. Anybody who disagrees with RTP, and I see a lot of you in the comments, if you want to come up and prove him wrong, if you think that he's wrong and disagree, how you do that is you look at the Venmo. That's the same username as my Discord. If you DM me on Discord, I can bring you up and talk to Jay in real time. You don't have to cry in comments. Also check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms, and we've got merch. So yeah, like I mentioned, we do this about 1 Pacific time. So if you guys could help us knock out that gift goal, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, I'll go towards knocking that out. So at breakfast the other day, my spawn asked me if Captain Crunch was still alive.
Yeah.
I told her no, he was pretty old. Then she asked, did they cremate him like Grandpa? I told her no. He was buried.
No, 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 that's terrible. That was awful. Now, look, I want to say this. I know that none of you Republicans know what the emoluments clause is, but that's fine. Either does Kevin O'Leary. What is this host's name again? Abby Phillip. Abby, if you know that like two clips that have the same energy. I'll show you in a second the two clips that have the same energy here. Let me make sure I have this so I can go back to back. There we go. All right. Here's Abby Phillips with Kevin O'Leary. And Kevin O'Leary, he's a billionaire or a millionaire. And so you guys think that he's brilliant because he has money. He's not that intelligent. Here he is making excuses for Trump getting bribes and Abby having to explain to him what the emoluments clause is.
The United States Constitution.
Oh, wait, sorry. Swish said, love seeing you at Admir's Elevated Chicken. Thank you. Rory said, always on point. And Bean said, love you guys. Thank you.
Like to have a word. That's why people care.
Yeah,
right?
People care
because
of
the
the
reason that that's in the Constitution is to prevent the president of the United States from accepting things that are being perceived as bribes.
What is the national
The
interest
goal of the
this
trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him.
Why are they always like, this is the problem that I have with all of you. When we ask you about this, when we ask you about bribes, which is unconstitutional, it's a fair question to ask. It's crazy when you guys get mad that we ask you questions. Why the fuck is he getting a plane? Why are you worried about that? What's the point of the trip? Why do you even go on the trip? I don't know. So far, it looks like he went on the trip to do a bunch of business deals and get a fucking plane. Because what have we gotten? What benefit has the United States gotten from this trip? What was the goal of this trip? Kevin just doesn't want to answer the question. It's what all of you do when you are presented with uncomfortable information. You try and say, we shouldn't even talk about this. It's the same shit every day. The same Republicans come in every day. How come you're not talking about gas prices? How come you're not saying all the good things Trump does? Well, one, because the good things he tells you, the good things he's telling you that he does, he's not doing. When he tells you gas is $1.98, he's lying. So we do cover it. But it's just that he's not telling the truth. Nobody ever wants to hold this guy accountable. Nobody. If you don't like the emoluments clause, get rid of it. Go through Congress and say presidents can accept bribes now. We've changed our mind. It's very important that we allow presidents to take bribes. But don't run like cowardly little bitches every time somebody presents you with information that's uncomfortable. And that's what Kevin's doing here. I'd like any of you. What was the point of this trip? Kevin's trying to deflect, like, oh, he's doing important business. What? What is the important business? He took virtually none of his delegation. He took a bunch of business leaders over there. Was he just introducing them so they could get money? Is that what this was? He was introducing them to other billionaires. So like, look, you guys can give these billionaires some money too. What was the point of the trip? I don't know. But don't let people avoid answering the question about the plane by saying, you're missing the point.
Belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
what matters is, why are all these AI guys on this trip?
Have you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait. Why do you have all the leaders?
Kevin, no, seriously, it's a serious question. Have you heard of the emoluments clause? Do you understand that that is in the Constitution?
He doesn't. No.
And
listen,
do you understand that even if you think that maybe it might be okay,
how many fairies dance on a pin does not do policy.
Nobody's asking how many fairies dance on a pin, you fucking thumb. We're asking about bribes. Do you know about the emoluments clause that says you can't take bribes? Nobody's talking about fairies dancing on a pin. Yeah, no shit, dumbass. No shit. Nobody said that. It's the arrogance and the confidence of mediocre men that drives me nuts. When you get cornered, you can't just say, men, like, honest to God, toxic masculinity hurts you. Just say I'm wrong. Just say I don't know. It's fine. Your life will get better. You won't look like a dumbass as often. And you won't need your buddies to come hype you up like, no, really, they were the dumb ones. Just say I don't know. This Canadian businessman doesn't know what the emoluments clause is. If you walk down the street and ask people, what's the emoluments clause? 90+% wouldn't know what it is. That's fine. It doesn't mean that Trump can take bribes, though. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it. This is a crazy standard that we're setting here with this president. He's the most openly corrupt president that we've ever had. And you know what? There's people waiting in the wings now going, hold on, if I just run for president, I can lie always. I can lie to the people all the time about what I'm doing, and I can take bribes, and I can steal from them. I can just steal right from them, and they'll still vote for me? All I have to do is tell them that, like, I'm a Christian and I hate trans people and I hate immigrants, and they'll just keep voting for me no matter what? All right, yeah, that's a good deal. Like, the amount of grifters now surrounding Trump, the whole fucking cabinet is just grifters. You got RFK and his band of grifters. RFK now is on stage today going, you should not listen to my medical advice. Oh, okay. Fuck, glad we got you up there. I'm glad you're in charge. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. He literally said that today. You shouldn't take medical advice from me. This is grift central. But I did tell you there's a same energy with Kevin. I do feel like Abby Phillips has to babysit people, and I don't know how much of this I can show. So I'm just going to show a couple minutes of this clip, but it gives me the same vibe.
Stuck inside with family members that they just can't stand. So we decided to reopen as a daycare center for uncles.
Hey!
Uncle Hank, good to have you today.
I got a hemorrhoid like a monkey knuckle.
All right. When most people have an uncle, they never think they'll spend all day with them.
Hey, you guys think fire's beautiful, right? Good morning, Miss Holly. My mom told me to say thank you for all the prayers for our iguana.
Once COVID hit, that nightmare became a reality. Uncle Shane!
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, come on in.
Wow.
Wow, nice shirt.
What sound does a wolf make?
Wolves.
So we offer...
All right, I don't know how much more I can show of that without getting a copyright strike. You should go watch that, though. That's what it's like dealing with all of you, MAGA. It's babysitting. It's walking through you. It's walking you through basic shit that you should know before you make dumb arguments. I mean, how long did we spend arguing last night about a consumption tax being regressive? Even just the word regressive, you don't know what it means. The problem is that you guys are led by idiots. And they don't teach you anything. And they don't teach you anything so that you will remain dumb and you will just get distracted by shiny objects. You'll get distracted by rhetoric. Donald Trump is going to lower prices by 50 to 90%. No, he's not. No, he's not. And when he doesn't, it won't change anything for you. Because all they do is they just take the keys and they dangle them in front of your face, and like a kitten, I like that. That's all you have to do if you're a Republican in politics. Just dangle a shiny thing. And you guys get so fucking distracted so easily. That, like, the real stuff, the things that Trump is actually doing, none of you have a fucking clue. Not one fucking clue. It's too easy, and you guys need to be better. You're going to get taken advantage of. You are being taken advantage of, frankly. You're literally in here like, we love this president. He's doing so much for the country. He's fucked our economy. I'm going to show you guys, like, real inflation in a minute. I'm going to show you the effects of Trump's tariff war on the average American coming up. It's devastating. And there's no end in sight because he's not getting rid of it. But again, you guys hear the rah-rah shit, you hear the catchphrases, and you come in here every day and you repeat the catchphrases, and none of you can come up here and defend it because you don't know what it means. It's not even that, like, you yourselves are stupid. You don't do any research. You legitimately don't know what any of this stuff means, which is why you stay in the comments and you don't want to have a discussion. And I'm begging you to have a discussion because I think that in America, we should just be able to come to the right answer. But you won't ever get there. You can't get there if you just keep following Trump. He won't lead you to the right answer. He's going to lie to you every step of the way. And he's going to do things that benefit him. And then he'll just tell you, don't worry. Don't look at these things that are only benefiting me. Ignore those. Think about these executive orders that I wrote that I can't enforce. Just pay attention to all these things that I wrote down and signed on a piece of paper that we can't implement. Focus on that, please. Don't focus on the fact that Congress isn't passing any bills. Don't focus on Congress cutting Medicare and Medicaid. Do not focus on that. Don't focus on the fact that they're still telling you that in this bill, they are cutting no taxes on tips and no taxes on overtime, and it's not in the bill. They're not doing that. And they're telling you. Every day they're telling you, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And you fucking lemmings come in here and go, how come you guys never talk about no tax on tips and no tax on overtime? Because it's not real. That's why. I care about you, Republicans. I care about you. I don't want you guys to get taken advantage of anymore. So I'm just here to help. And like all therapy, it's hard at first. It is. It's hard to get that vulnerable stage. It's hard to admit to ourselves, maybe somebody's lying to me. Maybe I'm not being told the truth. And if you can't explain this without saying, attacking me, if you can't explain it without just being like, oh, he's another paid propagandist, another liberal clown, another communist, you'd like Kamala. If all of your answers come out as an attack on me, all that says is you don't know what you're talking about. And you're uncomfortable with that. And so you have these pre-written responses that just come out because you don't know how to defend it. And that should concern you. Like, honestly, as a grown-up, it should concern you if you're talking and the things you're saying, you can't back up. They might be right, but you can't back them up. Shut the fuck up and listen to somebody instead. But you come in here looking dead or dumb every goddamn day. Every day. This is why our chat laughs at you, because every day you guys come in and you think you're about to say something clever, and we've all seen it 4,000 times. There's not a single thing that you guys have written today that we haven't seen every day since Trump got in office. You say the same things every day, and 90% of them are lies. Thurman said, keep educating, bro, and I'm glad I wasn't charged a consumption tax when using the ATM this morning. That was wild. That was wild. I was like, we'll just do every time you take money out of an ATM, you'll get taxed on that. Yeah, that's good. MS Banga says, you might be the smartest debater online. Keep reporting and owning these MAGAs. Thank you. Probably not the smartest. Robert says, Dollar Train, love you guys. Oh, that's Brother Bob. Thanks, brother. Check over here real quick, too. Tim says, make uncles smart again. Yeah, we got to get these uncles out of the GOP. It's like the most uncle party ever. You're so angry. Yeah, look, I'm not that angry. I'm really not. I just I want to have conversations. I'm frustrated, if that helps. I'm a pretty happy person, but I am frustrated. It's hard to talk to you guys every day. It's hard to have you guys come in here every day and say the same dumb shit, and none of you and not defend it. It is. That gets frustrating. I do get frustrated. I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I have an outsized sense of justice. And I do like the thing that bothers me the most is people who speak that don't know what they're talking about, but speak confidently about things that they know nothing about. And yeah, so you do bug me. You do trigger me sometimes, but it's the stupidity. It really is. It's not that anybody's afraid. Like, we beg you guys to come up every day. I'm begging you, begging. If you could still see me if I was on my knees, I'd get on my knees and beg you to have a conversation. I would beg you to explain to me what you're seeing, but you won't. And I think you know why. I think we all know why. You know deep down that if you come up here and you have a conversation, it's going to be quickly exposed that you don't know what you're talking about. You just say things. You just say things that you've heard other people say. And if I ask you questions about what you're saying, you're not going to be able to defend it. So it's safe in the chat. And I appreciate that. And you're welcome here. We appreciate the engagement. You know who used to also be angry and frustrated with Trump? Tulsi Gabbard. This tweet's circulating. Remember when Tulsi Gabbard wasn't a sellout? Trump's easing sanctions on Syria. Or going and kissing the Saudis' ass. He did this in 2019 too, right before his son-in-law got a bunch of money. And Tulsi tweeted at them, at real Donald Trump, Trump awaits instructions from his Saudi masters. Having our country act as Saudi Arabia's bitch is not America first. I would agree. I do think that being Saudi Arabia's bitch is not America first. He just told Saudi Arabia, you guys are the hottest country. You're so handsome. What did you get? None of you got anything from that trip to Saudi Arabia. The only people that got anything, by the way, and Kevin O'Leary kind of mentioned it. They're going to Saudi Arabia to work out a deal on two things. Nuclear, the ability to get nuclear weapons, and microchip technology. They're just out there doing the bidding of the billionaires. They want the billionaires to be able to make more money. And that doesn't make you any more money. Billionaires getting more money does not mean you get more money. Trickle-down economics is a scam. It's a lie. Statistically, it's untrue. You will not get more money. And you're out here celebrating. Look at how amazing this is. They give him a plane, and he's working out all these business deals for his rich friends that don't help me. America first, baby. This is what I voted for. At the same time he's doing that, we discussed this yesterday, because I don't know. It doesn't matter. I guess tell me what you think about this, Republicans. We're saying that Qatar is bribing Trump. And Qatar historically has bribed American politicians through the use of their lobbyists, right? That's how Qatar does it. That's how they get in with these politicians. They have lobbyists. Well, there's a very prominent Qatari lobbyist on in Trump's administration.
Here,
bullshit. It doesn't bring jobs, Chris. It doesn't bring jobs. It absolutely does not bring jobs. This is the thing. Like, this is the shit that you've just been told. The jobs are already there. The Saudis are going to give NVIDIA money, and that is going to raise their stock price. That's it. It does not bring jobs. This is a lie that American politicians have been telling you for ages. Here's the truth about American economics. When people invest in companies, there's sometimes it's investing in infrastructure. If they're investing in infrastructure, it can bring jobs. Most of the time, the investment isn't into infrastructure, it's into working capital. That doesn't necessarily bring jobs. But when the stock price drops, they always cut jobs. Always. This is a lie that you guys have been fed over and over. This is a propaganda that's been going on since the 80s, that we have to give all these rich people all this money because they're the ones that create jobs. Let's talk about it. Has Elon Musk created jobs? No. He steals jobs. He takes jobs that are already created and he merges them into his companies. Same with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is the number one individual job killer, the number one individual business killer. Walmart, same deal. They kill good-paying jobs and they replace those jobs with poor-paying jobs. Jobs where, by the way, Walmart's giving Trump millions of dollars, and Walmart teaches their employees, we're not going to pay you enough, so you need to get on Medicare. Excuse me, Medicaid? Medicaid? I always mix up which one. You need to get on food stamps. We're not going to pay you enough, so the government's going to actually subsidize our workers by giving you food stamps. It never leads to higher paying jobs. This is not true. Think about it. Just look at the investment. Look at the trillions of dollars investment, the billions that have already come through with the Infrastructure Act. Think of I live in Arizona. We gave out massive subsidies to these chip manufacturers. Are we getting a return on on that investment? No, we're not. That's just money that we've lost. And it will create a few thousand jobs. But the amount that we spent to get those companies here, it's not a net positive. Donald Trump's supposed to be a good businessman, right? If Donald Trump's going to take investment, we should have a positive return on investment. And especially if he's going to come out here and say this is America first, and we're going to do this for American citizens. The return on investment for us, for all of you, is nada. The return on the investment only seems to be rich people's stock price going higher. And that means dividends get paid out to other rich people. But it doesn't mean more jobs. We're experiencing layoffs as we speak due to Trump's stupid ass tariff war. Anyways, back to Qatar and back to Trump's corrupt administration. If you're going to take bribes from Qatar, if you're going to allow people to bribe you, what you're going to need is you're going to need an attorney general who doesn't mind bribes and isn't going to prosecute you when you take bribes.
Here is what it looks like. Yeah, it's nice. But what about the national security concerns? Is it safe? Is it bugged? How long will it take for Secret Service to double check all of that? And what about the ethics? What is Qatar getting in return for this giant sum of money, this giant gift? A photo op, a handshake, a golf course, a feeling of warm-hearted goodwill for an ally? Donald Trump's attorney general says it's all above board, it's all legal. The same attorney general who coincidentally used to pull a $115,000 salary per month from Qatar to work on behalf of its World Cup interests. Here is what it looks like. Yeah, it's nice.
Somebody said, like, what did you say? What's your solution, bro? No, just whining and complaining. Bro, I give my solutions every fucking day. I just gave you solutions. This is my problem. You want to complain. You don't want to listen. Here's the solution. Apply the emoluments clause. Don't allow the president to accept bribes. Don't allow lobbyists to be attorney general. If you want to cut down on the amount of bribes that politicians are getting, end Citizens United. Take money out of politics tomorrow. Why do you think Donald Trump doesn't ever talk about Citizens United? All these billionaires, Elon Musk, they all talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. They all talk about corruption. How come you never hear these rich folks talking about ending Citizens United? Because that's how they got all their power. That's how they got all their money. That's how they wrote the tax code that allows them to keep all of their money. Because they don't really want to do it. I don't know why you guys think that bringing in an entire cabinet full of fucking billionaires and lobbyists was going to drain the swamp and was going to make things more equitable for you. Of course not. They are billionaires because they care about themselves first. And that's what they're doing in the government, too. They're all just taking care of each other. Trump filled Air Force One full of fucking billionaires and flew them to Saudi Arabia, where he took bribes. And you guys are like, oh, you guys just complain about anything. What the fuck are we doing here? Joe Biden got $0 and 0 cents in bribes. But his son and his son's friend appeared to say, hey, we've got connections, so because we've got connections, you should give us money. And people gave them money. And you guys acted like that was the scandal of the century. And I, of all people, sat here every day and said, investigate Hunter Biden. Investigate Joe Biden. Do the investigation. Every fucking day I said that. And then when Donald Trump does something far more prolific and gets far more money, his own son-in-law, now the Saudi fund, it was $2 billion. It's up to over $3 billion now. And like 30 million of that has come from American donations. And by the way, Jared Kushner is not a money manager. He's not a fund manager. He never has been. This is his first attempt at being a fund manager. And the people who gave him billions of dollars just so happen to be the same people who signed the fucking Abraham Accords, which is a non-peace deal for countries who were already peaceful. So my problem is that if we're going to have this discussion, can you guys wake the fuck up and join the discussion? If we're going to talk about corruption, how come we can only talk about corruption if it's Hunter Biden? But if it's Jared Kushner or Donald Trump or the Trump sons and they're getting like millions and millions and millions of dollars, billions if it's Jared Kushner, then you guys don't want to talk about it. Then it's off limits. Say whatever you want about the left and the right. I'm not the left. I'm not the right. I'm just one fucking guy. But I stood 10 toes down the entire time and said, investigate Joe Biden, investigate Hunter Biden. I'm just asking for you guys to have that same energy. All this time, you spent the whole time, how come the libs don't want to investigate Hunter? That's fair. There were liberals who said that it was all a sham and they shouldn't do it. But if you're going to complain about them and then turn around and do the same shit they did, who the fuck are you? You're just another dummy playing a team sport. The thing that makes me angry is I want things in this country to get better. I could give a fuck who makes them better. I started this show today telling you that I liked that Trump was easing sanctions on Syria. I can call balls and strikes. My main problem with Trump is he seems to spend all of his time doing things that benefit him. And occasionally, things that benefit him and things that benefit the rest of us align. And in those scenarios, I'm going to say this is good. But you guys just get upset at any criticism. Any criticism of him, you immediately shut down. You are exactly the snowflakes that you claim that the left is. That's exactly who you are. You come in here every fucking day and bitch, 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 bitch. How come you never say the good things? And then the good things that you want me to mention are things that aren't real, like him cutting prescription costs, like tax on tips, like tax on overtime, like Doge finding waste, fraud, and abuse. You want me to celebrate shit that he didn't do that isn't real, and then when I give you real stuff, then you run from it. You're no different than the people that you criticize every day. But with all due respect, I am a little different. I am going to call balls and strikes, which is why I'm one of the few places that asks you to come up and have a conversation. So have it. But I don't know how you can watch this and not be concerned. There are Republicans in my life that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, and they're concerned. And they're concerned because they have the ability to reach out of their bubble and discuss things with people outside of their bubble, and they get a little bit different perspective on, oh, maybe that's what's going on. What Trump is doing is absolutely batshit. He's just running around the world taking bribes, and we have to beg you every day, please just listen to this. Please just notice what he's doing. Please, when he says something, go back and see if that was true. And we don't live in reality anymore. We live in a world where everybody around Trump is lying about stuff that you know they're lying about, and it doesn't bother you. You can sit there. I'll show clips here in a minute, but I'm going to show clips of Kristi Noem obviously lying, and every one of you knows that she's lying, and it won't change your support for her. You'll sit there and watch these people lie because it's a team sport. Just like the Patriots didn't care. Like the Patriots were the loudest people. Everybody's deflating the balls. Yeah, well, you got caught. Was it right or was it wrong? It was probably wrong. You got caught. That's who you guys are. You've spent 4 years complaining about Joe Biden. You weren't able to prove that he was guilty, but now you're going to turn around and ignore crime because you didn't get your win. We didn't even get to put Joe Biden in jail, so now we don't care about crime anymore. I just want you to grow up just like a little bit. Here's the receipts regarding Pam Bondi. This is her FAR registration, or from the FAR registration unit. This is the registrations statement pursuant to the Foreign Agents Registration Act. She worked for Ballard Partners, and this is who their foreign principal was. This was her job. Her job before she became Attorney General was to work on behalf of the embassy of the state of Qatar to get preferential treatment from the United States government. And now she's the Attorney General, and now she's just looking the other way as Trump takes bribes. History will remember this as the most transparently fraudulent administration of all time, and I don't think you guys will be proud of that. I really do. I think you'll be embarrassed that you sat here. I mean, you won't admit it. You'll be embarrassed that you just sat here and yelled at me while I gave you real information, but it just was uncomfortable, so you didn't like it. Let's see. Let's move on to the budget economics. The Ways and Means package, which came out yesterday, is going to add $5.3 trillion to the deficit. This is the Republicans telling you that they're going to cut costs. Okay, let's look at this. Ways and Means draft would add trillions of deficits. So this is from the CBO, the official budget score. If they extend and expand rate cuts, with tax rate cuts, these are in billions. So what's that? $2,177 billion. Extending the AMT repeal packs for most taxpayers, that's $1,414 billion. Extend and expand standard deduction hike extend and expand child tax credit, extend and expand pass-through deduction, extend and expand estate cut tax. By the way, they're cutting estate taxes. We're just bleeding money. This bill is going to blow up our deficit. And they told you that when they got in office, they were going to stop the spending, and they were going to, in fact, Trump said, I will balance the budget and I will eliminate the deficit. $5 trillion is what we're looking to add now. Where are we at on there, Republicans? What do we say about this? What is this? Is this the America First shit you were talking about? Is this the waste, fraud, and abuse shit you were talking about? Is this the cutting the deficit shit you were talking about? Notice there's no expansion here of not taxing tips or overtime. Notice how that's not in there. Why are Republicans currently saying, elected Republicans saying that they're getting rid of the tax on tips? Why are they lying about that? Do they? I think it's because you're trying to predict the future. Oh my God. I don't know if you know how math works. I don't know if you know how budgets work. This is not me predicting the future. This is their fucking budget. And yeah, they can pretty accurately determine what tax revenue and what spending will be. That's how they get to these numbers. Or you think that that's the defense now? Yeah, I know everybody says it's going to make everything or we're going to add $5 trillion to the deficit, but what if it doesn't? Well, why can't you guys come up with why are we cutting revenues here? If we need to balance the budget, why are we increasing spending and cutting revenue? This time it'll work. It's never worked ever, but this time it'll work. It's math. It's just math. It's such a fucking team game for you guys that you're now arguing with math. I don't think math's real, honestly. If you ask me, math's not real. I trust Donald Trump over math. Do you see all this red? This is deficit spending. All of this is deficit spending. This is the Ways and Means showing revenue collection. Current law, this is what we're bringing in revenue. The revenue is share of a GDP. So 18% of our GDP right now is revenue brought in from taxes. If the bill passes as it is written, we will lose 0.9% of revenue in compared to as a share of GDP. And if these cuts are made permanent, if they keep going, it will knock us down to 16.6%. We're cutting revenue while increasing spending. That makes no fucking sense. This is math. This makes no fucking sense. And the only reason that they can get away with it is because they keep telling you that they're going to balance the budget. So you just keep believing them. Trump didn't do it his first time around. Bush didn't do it. Reagan didn't do it. Bush Sr. didn't do it. They all do the same thing. They all cut revenue and increase spending every single time. They never do it. And here comes what about the Dems? Dems are bad too, but the difference is Democrats don't cut the revenue. They increase spending, but they don't cut revenue. So they suck too, but they don't suck quite as bad as you guys. Because they're like, well, yeah, we're going to increase the deficit, but at least we'll try and pay for some of it. And Republicans are like, I have a new idea. What if we increase the deficit, but we don't pay for the increases? In fact, what if we bring in less money? Will that help? It will not. It will not. No, we was talking about investing in Trans-Paradis and in Venezuela and Africa. Yeah, because you guys are obsessed with... That's the point. All they have to do is point to trans people, and you're like, oh, okay, over there. You want me to look at you don't want me to look at the math because this is bad. Over there, you said trans people. Okay, I'll look at the trans people. Oh, yeah, that's bad. That's how easy it is. They just point you in a different direction. Of course they did. yeah, we're going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. And then they told you about trans people. And then you're like, fuck, I got to hit up DuckDuckGo real quick. Then you had your DuckDuckGo, you had your session. And then you got to rage tweet into oblivion about trans people while they just steal from you. The oldest trick in the books. Look over there, they pick your pocket. Look over there, they pick your pocket. Look over there, they pick your pocket. No, that's not a bribe. That's just a gift. Don't worry about it. And they pick your pocket. They're stealing from you. They're stealing from your children. They're stealing from me. They're stealing from my children. They're stealing from your grandparents. They're stealing from disabled people. And you don't care because all they have to do is point at trans people and you lose your fucking minds. You are so obsessed with trans people that that's all they ever have to do. They're literally, they put people in office whose stated goal on the record is to undo democracy, to get rid of democracy, to undo the Constitution. And then we tell you that and you're like, what? And then you ask your Republicans, like, are you going to do this? And they're like, no, dude, they're just trying to make your kids trans. You're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, let me go back. Stop making my kids trans. You're obsessed. And you're the most easily manipulated, duped people on earth. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here. Remember those Maury Povich episodes where they would bring the kids in and they would bring out a drill instructor and he'd just scream at them? He's like, you're going to be in jail for the rest. I feel like that's who I am. Like, this is an intervention every day. And the Republicans come in here and we have a little bit of an intervention. And like most troubled kids, 3% of you are going to learn something and go about your day a little bit better. And the rest of you are just going to stay pissed off and probably go on to the next show and scream about trans people again. It's getting a little, it's beyond weird at this point. It really is. It's beyond weird how much you guys talk about trans people. I don't know. I love my trans friends. I almost never talk about them. I almost never talk about any of my friends. Honestly, I don't talk about my friends that much at all. You guys are obsessed. We can't even talk about economics without you guys bringing it up. Let it go. It's fine. If you're into it, it's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's fine. You can be into whatever you want. You don't need to feel bad about it. All right. Is this the revenue collection? Let me check real quick. Make sure I got this chart right. Oh, that was on the last one. Okay. Here's Jimmy Gomez. He is a congressman from California. He's questioning. I'm trying to remember who he's questioning. Let me double check here. I should have written that down. This was in, I think this was in Ways and Means. Anyways, here's Gomez making the point that the Republican Party is aiding and abetting the rich to drive working class Americans into poverty and essentially economic slavery. What these tech companies do, Felice laid this out pretty clearly in the tech company she worked with, but like Google, for example, they'll do this. Google will hire you and they'll give you a good salary, and then they create these campuses. And they create a campus. They'll have like a grocery store. They have restaurants. They have a gym. They have a movie theater. They have a park. They have sleep pods. They try and give you everything that you need so that you don't ever leave. So you're just always there. And that is the goal of all of these oligarchs, is they want everybody working for them. They want to collect as many businesses and bring them all in under one umbrella, and they want to just have a bunch of workers. That's what happened in Russia, and that's what we're doing in America right now. Think of the biggest employers compared to like a medium-sized employer. Every massive corporation is trying to expand by gobbling up all of their competition. And this allows them to do that. These types of tax breaks that are weighted heavily towards the rich, it allows them to accumulate more wealth. But more importantly, it allows them to put middle-class business owners into a precarious position where they are faced with the reality of, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills or pay my employees, or I can take this lump sum of money, this one-time lump sum of money from Amazon to go away, basically. And Amazon's just going to take your business and go away. And it's a good investment for Amazon, and you make some money, but your workers are fucked. And that's the reality of the situation that we're in right now, is that everybody starts a business to be acquired or to sell a business. Very few people are starting a business to own their own business. In fact, even in the industry I'm in, people that become content creators, most of them, especially on the political side, most of the people who do this daily, They go, they sign an agent, they get tied to a PAC, they get tied to a movement, they get tied to people who have money in politics, and then within a short period of time, they just sound like everybody else. But they're getting paid because it's about the accumulation of voices that you're hearing every day. I don't want to name names, but like the Midas Touch, that's what Midas Touch did. Midas Touch came in, they got a bunch of money, they've got a bunch of outside money, and most of you watch Midas Touch that are on the left. Most of you probably like Midas Touch, and then they see somebody like Adam Mockler, and they're like, oh, I like Adam Mockler. He would be beneficial. Let's use our network. We'll bring him Adam Mockler. And now it's not just our voice that's saying it, it's also Adam Mockler's voice that's saying it. It's our friend Brian. Boston Brian. Let's bring him in. Let's bring a different voice. But it's structured in a way that communication goes out. That's what everybody does. That's what kind of sucks about our economy. We don't really live in a country anymore where like the American dream is to start a company, build it your entire life, maybe pass it on to your kids, or just let it go when you're done. But working for yourself is really, really difficult now. Most people that say like I'm a business owner, they're just independent contractors. And ironically, they're independent contractors because these massive corporations don't want to pay taxes. And so it allows that by paying independent contractors, they don't have to pay for benefits. They don't do payroll tax. It makes it easier and cheaper for them. Most people who say they're self-employed or they own their own business are actually just independent contractors because the business that they work for doesn't want to pay them. The door-to-door industry, that's the entire, like the solar industry, that's almost the entire solar industry. I have friends that work selling like garage doors. They're all 1099 contractors. Pest control, roofing, everybody who does like services, pool services, lawn services. It's all 1099. Nobody wants to pay benefits, and then everybody's goal is just to be acquired. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted there. Here's Jimmy Gomez. He says that in the year 2027, someone who's making less than $15,000, will they see an increase in federal taxes?
Mr. Barthold, can you help me with explain a little bit on this? I was just looking at the chart here, and it says that in the calendar year 2027, someone that's making less than $15,000 will see an increase in federal taxes by 18.7%. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Gomez, and that's a consequence of loss of premium tax credits, health care.
Okay, so
people making less than $15,000 a year are going to see an increase in their federal taxes by 18.7%. The poorest among us are going to see an increase in their taxes by 18.7%. And this is the fuckery of the GOP's tax strategy. What they don't do is they don't raise the rate. So they'll point at the rate of income tax and they're like, look, people aren't paying a higher percentage of income tax. But then they'll remove benefits. They'll remove tax loopholes. They'll add things like tariffs, which are a tax, but they aren't included in the income tax. This policy is going to it's going to bankrupt poor people. It is going to cause more people to lose their homes. It will put more people on the streets. People making $15,000 a year cannot take an 18% increase. They can't. They're already underwater.
And then in calendar year 2020, anybody making less than $15,000 sees an increase of 53.5%. Anybody who's making $15,000 to $30,000 sees an increase by 11.7%. Is that correct?
Yeah, what calendar year are we in, Mr. Gomez?
2029. It's the next page.
2029. Yes.
And then we see the next page in 2031. Anyone making less than $15,000 sees a. Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. An increase in their taxes of 74.3%, and from 15,000 to 30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? Or is that, did you guys make a mistake, or is that like?
No mistake in the numbers, but an important thing to remember is in lower brackets, it's actually hard to measure the denominator because there are some taxpayers that are getting refundable tax credits, for example, and so there's some with negative tax rates, and so you're adding up some with negative tax rates and positive tax rates, so it's like dividing a modest change over by.
If you're making $15K, you got to do something different. Okay, but do we need to tax those people more? Is that you're missing the point always? You always show up to demonize poor people. That's Republicans. Being a Republican is punching down. Being a Republican is always stealing from the poor. It's always treating the poor in a poor way. It's always going after immigrants. It's always going after marginalized communities. You guys are just pussies. That's the reality. You have no ability to punch up because you're too fucking scared that people with more money than you won't like you and you won't get your money. So you just punch down. That's what Republicanism is. Republican is always going after poor people, always going after marginalized communities, and never holding rich people accountable for the laws that they are writing. You're just cucks. You're sitting over there in your cuck chair, and you're watching your wife get fucked by the rich person, and you're screaming at a poor person out the window. Be quiet! Elon's trying to fuck my wife. That's you.
Zero.
Well, here's the thing. This is what your own tax brackets suggest. And one of the things that we have my Republican colleagues over here saying, hey, we're not doing tax on tips, which we know is actually pretty limited. Oh, we're not going to do X, Y, and Z, but we're screwing over people who are making less than $30,000 a year. And what I actually find offensive is because my parents never made more than $38,000 a year in their entire lifetime after working 4 to 6 jobs a week to make ends meet, right? And then we have Donald Trump and his chaotic, reckless tariff policy that is creating so much uncertainty that it's driving up the cost of living in this country. At first, it was $4,900 a year. Then it became $3,800 a year. Either way, the people at the lower income brackets are getting screwed over by a Republican majority that doesn't give a damn about them. Then on top of that, we know this, the people that are under $30,000 a year are most likely to be on Medicaid, most likely to live in rural areas, more likely to be in urban areas that are the working poor. But then they're bragging about, you know what? The top income brackets make the most money, so we're going to give them the highest amount of refunds. That's insane. And they have no shame about it. You have no shame when it comes to hurting working men and women in this country. You know, I'm somebody that was supposed to not go to college. I ended up working at Subway and Target. I would make $700 a week working not 9 to 5, but 5 in the afternoon to 9 the next day. I had zero health care. And to me, you would tell somebody in my place, you know what? We're helping you out, just giving you a little bit. But the billionaires are the ones that make the most money and deserve the most help. That's your logic. But I like to quote one billionaire when it comes to Warren Buffett that says that a lot of people shouldn't be punished because it wasn't determined on what they did. It was the happenstance of their birth. But you all want to like tout a tax plan that increases taxes on people making under $30,000 a year, the folks that are struggling, and then cutting their Medicaid on top of that, but yet you want people to have more babies. That's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life.
I love the oh, Jen, are you here? Jen? I keep hearing a mic pick up. Is that you, Jen?
I'm here now.
Oh, okay.
Well, I am. Want to do announcements?
Sure. I thought that's what you were breaking in for.
Oh, well, sure. Anyways, I sent you the end of Admir's Live if you want to check it out. It's pretty funny. Anyways, we've got about 2 hours left for the show. Like I mentioned before, we do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. We are crowdfunded, so the gift goal up in that top left-hand corner is the remaining balance that we need to knock out before the end of the show so that we can keep doing this every day and pissing off MAGA in the comments. So if you guys could help us out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out the remaining balance of that goal. If you guys would like to talk to Jay in real time, If anything he says and disagrees with, you can come up and talk to him in real time. And how you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that's the same username as my Discord. You can DM me on Discord, and I can bring you up to talk to RTP in real time. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We've got 4 different memberships on YouTube if you'd like to support us that way. And also check out our link tree for our other social media platforms and merch. We also try to put up regular content over on YouTube as well. So if you could go and engage with our videos, Kofi's been helping us out a lot with getting those up on a regular basis. So we appreciate him for that and helping us out on that part. So yeah, knock out the gift goal. And if you want to come up and talk, DM me on Discord. A sperm donor, a carpenter, and Julius Caesar walked into a bar.
Okay.
He came, he saw,
Stupid.
he conquered.
I knew where that's going. Get out of here. Elizabeth said for join the Dollar Train. Thanks, Elizabeth. Bree says, wish you cared about. God damn. Wish you cared about my vajayjay as much as MAGA cares about trans people's genitals. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Patiently waiting to come put you in a deficit once I'm done with you. Think about it. Put you in a deficit. Okay, I think I get that. I'm not 100% sure I get that. Jen said to blow it out. I got you. Another blowy or whatever Jen said. Are we trying to kill my Cash App today? And Jackie says, hey, homie. What's up, Jackie? Where were these comments? Jesus Christ, I haven't gotten read for a while. Sully said, Jen, you inspire me with your kind heart and hard work. We'd be lost without you. We all love you so much. Sully, I wore this hat for you today, brother. This is for you. This is in solidarity. So I hope you enjoyed it. Photodea said, the more truth you speak, the more attackers. Thurman, I think I did read that one. All right, let's watch Admir. If you guys don't know, so just those of you that aren't here or weren't here last night, that don't go on TikTok. Hold on.
Bye, Admir. Good night.
This was Admir last night. So to be clear, we debated for 3.5 hours. I was high the whole time. Admir needs to get it together. But somewhere around the last hour or so, Admir took an edible. And then I left, and apparently this is how the night ended. I haven't seen this yet. I'm watching it with you guys for the first time. Jen Star said, Jen and Jay, keep up the good work. Fuck Donald Trump. I appreciate that. And yeah, fuck Donald Trump.
Bye, Admir. Good night.
I can't. Okay, I'm gonna try to.
You're a mess.
God bless it, man. Oh my God, this is. Hey Jim, can you shut the light down? Oh damn it! What the fuck?
I had not seen that. Is Admir here? Yeah, has anybody checked on him? Did he make it? He sounded like he's about to cry. Jamar says, look over there, finger in your asshole. There you go. I like that, Jamar. Jose said, does MAGA know that Trump just increased everyone's taxes by 30% if you buy from China? They don't know. They don't know any of that. They never know. Oh my God. That was unbelievable. Okay. So this is the House Republican plan. So this is the, let me pull this up for you. This is the House Republican tax plan. The wealthy benefit from large permanent cuts. Lowest income families see an eventual tax increase. So the top percent are going to see a 3.4% gain in income. Same with the top 10%, 3.4. The 80 to 90 the top next 10%, 2.1. The fourth 20%, 2,000. The middle class going to get a 1.2% increase. The lower middle class 0.6, and poor are going to lose money if it's permanent. Is this fair? It's fair that rich people get to keep a bigger percentage of their money. That's fair. Poor people should lose more of their money. The more money you get, the more you should keep. That's the Republican tax strategy. Is that what we want? This is called a fucking oligarchy. This number just keeps getting bigger. Why are we giving rich people more money? Why are we stealing from the poor to give to the rich? This chart and all these links are going to be in our Discord. You can catch them. You can catch them there for free. It's free to join the Discord. What the fuck are you guys doing, Republicans? It got real fucking quiet in here, didn't it? Got real fucking quiet in here. Where'd those Republicans go? Real quiet when we start looking at numbers, huh? Real quiet. Even if you are on private insurance, even if you're not getting your insurance cut by the federal government and this Republican Party is trying to fuck you. Here's AOC to explain it.
13.7 million people. 13.7 million Americans will be cut off from their health care and made completely uninsurable by the bill that Republicans are presenting today. You know, there's a lot that I've been hearing, and I've been listening to my Republican counterparts here today and what they've been saying about this bill. And the math is not adding up. They're trying to convince people that they are cutting millions of undocumented people from payroll, from Medicare, acting as though this is what's going to save it. Even if you believe everything that Republicans have said today, they are identifying 1 million.
Before you guys get upset that AOC is talking, and I know it's a woman, and I know that you think she's dumb, but just a reminder that this is a member of Congress and not some dumb bitch arguing in the comments. Just remember that. You are the dumb bitch in this situation. And what she's about to quote is, see all these papers in front of her? These are the numbers that Republicans have provided her. And she is going to read those numbers. And you're such dumb bitches, and that you are going to ignore what she says because she's AOC. That is like the epitome of small-mindedness. I've shown you guys clip after clip after clip of Donald Trump speaking, and I don't go, we're not going to listen to him. You guys see a Democrat and you shut your ears because you are bitches. Absolute bitches. You won't defend your positions, and you won't listen to positions outside of your own because you are bitches. But AOC is brilliant, and we love her, and she's going to read the Republican numbers to you while you rage.
And if you believe everything that Republicans have said today, they are identifying one.
You just said AOC is a sheepdog. That would mean she leads sheep. That would mean she is a leader. I don't know how much you know about sheepdogs. That wouldn't be an insult. Sheepdogs are very important. And that's kind of what she's doing to you sheep right now. She's just kind of corralling you around like, listen up, guys. And you're calling her a sheepdog. That's a pretty good compliment.
1 million, their claim, which I dispute, but if you believe them, their claim is that 1 million undocumented people are on Medicaid. So why are they trying to cut 13.7 million Americans off their health care? By the Republicans' own Energy and Commerce tweet this morning, their claim is 7.6 million people are somehow ineligible for health care. So why are they cutting 13.7 million Americans off their health care? They've asked us to read this.
So we're saying, remember that when Mike Johnson goes out and Republicans go out and they stand in front of a microphone, we're not cutting health insurance for Americans, just illegal immigrants. And now, by their own numbers, which are heavily disputed, they are saying that there's 1 million people on Medicaid and Medicare that they're cutting that are illegal immigrants. And what they're going to do is cut, for some reason then, they're going to cut 17 million. 1/117th? They only tell you about the 1/117th, which is, again, a made-up number. But even their made-up number is 1/117th of the cuts that they are about to make. But remember this, when you watch your next Republican go in front of the camera, and when you watch your favorite Republicans debate online, they are going to talk about cutting Medicaid and Medicare for people who are here illegally, and they will never mention everybody else. They'll never mention the 16 million others who are not here illegally, will they?
Bill, and we have. This bill bans the people that they kick off of Medicaid from even buying their own insurance from the Affordable Care Act exchange. So once you are kicked off Medicaid, you then can't even buy your own health insurance. It increases costs for people who they deem eligible and who are low income and forces them to pay even more. And if you have a private insurer, don't worry, you're getting screwed over too, because your healthcare premiums are going to skyrocket.
Remember that one of the first actions that Trump took when he came back to office is he removed protections for us, for the consumers of health insurance. And now health insurance providers are back to being able to just kind of slide around those pre-existing conditions. So now health insurers have been able to increase their profits. And did they lower their price when they did that? Because Republicans say this all the time, right? They say, "Oh, it's that motherfucking red tape. It's all that red tape that's causing prices to go up." So they cut the red tape and prices went up. How'd that work? How's that work? How did prices go? They wanted you to cut red tape. You know what else went up? Weirdly, profit. Prices went up and their profit went up. They're making record profit right now while we're deregulating them. Okay. They don't pass that savings along to you ever.
From the disaster that is happening from this bill.
And why? Why do we have to have this conversation? Because you guys have been convinced that socialism bad, government-funded healthcare bad, so we can't collectively bargain. Like all the power that we have as American citizens, where we can come together as a group and we can bargain and we can negotiate lower prices with the pharmaceutical companies. We're not allowed to have that because socialism bad, right? Because collective bargaining bad. Do you see how they play you? You guys talking about sheepdogs? Jesus fucking Christ. So she's a sheepdog that just gets Dems to vote for Dem stuff. Yeah. Well, at least the stuff she's advocating for would give every American health care at a cheaper rate. And what your folks are advocating for, the sheepdogging that you're getting, hey guys, it's regulation's the problem. And then they deregulate and your price goes up anyways. But you're too fucking stupid. So you're just like, we'll keep listening. Every country in the world does it the exact opposite way, and they mostly have better outcomes. We're like in the 50s. We're terrible at healthcare. We're the richest country. We have people dying all the time from preventable disease. And instead of investing in it, and instead of doing it the right way and taking care of the American people, which is in the preamble of the Constitution, we can't do it because socialism bad. You don't talk to me about sheep ever fucking again. One, it's not socialism. Two, why do you just let somebody say socialism bad and that universal health care doesn't work anywhere? Have you ever looked it up? It works fucking everywhere. There's so many countries that do it better than us, and every one of them has a single payer system. Every one of them. And nobody is trying to replicate ours. That's the thing. Like, don't you think if our system was good, other countries would try and do it our way? Why do you think every other country, even our closest neighbors who see us on a day-to-day, like Canada and Mexico, our closest, how come they're not mimicking it? Because it's fucking corrupt. It's silly. And the only reason Republicans still are on their shit about universal health care is because their pockets are lined with donor money. And they don't ever do anything for you. And yes, there are Democrats, let's call them by name. Let's call him Nancy Pelosi. Let's call him Chuck Schumer. Let's call him John Fetterman. There are also Democrats who have their pockets lined, who stand in the way. But everybody who's getting massive money from Big Pharma, those are the ones that are keeping it. The people that don't get massive money from Big Pharma, like AOC and Bernie Sanders, and watch, all the Republicans in the chat right now are about to say that Bernie and AOC are funded by Big Pharma. They're going to say that real quick, so we know what your response is. But they're not. The people that are funding them are employees who work for big pharma and for the health insurance companies, and they see that it's so corrupt that they're taking their own money from their own paychecks and giving it to Bernie Sanders and AOC and saying, please destroy our business. Do you understand how insane that is? The owners of the company give them $0. AOC and Bernie get no corporate money from big pharma or from the healthcare industries, but the employees of those very companies are some of their largest donors. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about how fucked up our healthcare system is? That the employees are like, please burn it to the fucking ground, Bernie. AOC, burn it to the fucking ground. I'll even pay you to do it. I will pay you to destroy my corrupt fucking business. But the sheep over there on the right, socialism bad, unions bad, collective bargaining bad. We just need to let our billionaire overlords make all the decisions for us. Here's Tom Suozzi explaining the small print in the Republicans' tax break for the wealthy. Every promise Trump made about no tax on tips, about no tax on overtime, none of this exists. None of it.
Okay, on tips, the president has said your tips will be 100% yours. Does this tax bill continue the payroll tax on people's tips?
Yes, it does, Mr.
Overtime. The president said your overtime will be tax-free. Does this bill continue the payroll tax on overtime?
It does not exempt overtime from the payroll tax.
The president has said he's going to remove taxes on Social Security. Does this bill remove taxes on Social Security benefits?
The legislation provides an increased exemption amount.
But does it remove taxes on Social Security benefits as promised by the president?
Does not change social.
The president and the Republicans. Okay.
So they're lying. They are lying to you. There's no provision to end tax on tips. There's no provision to end tax on overtime. There's no provision to add tax on Social Security. They are lying to you. They promised you something. He always delivers on his promise. You guys wouldn't know if he delivered on his promise. Honest to God, I don't think Republicans could figure out how to find out if Trump went back on his promises or if he kept his promises. Because you guys are saying last night a Republican came on the live and said, well, what do you think about that? They just passed no tax on tips. He said that. And he cited a source. He cited a tweet from a Republican who said that they were getting rid of tax on tips. And it's just not true. You guys can be mad at me all you want about it, but they're lying to your face. I'm telling you the truth. You're lying and you're mad about me. Don't be cucky. Stop being cucky. Here's an analysis on the cost of living. It was I don't know who did it. Let's see. This is the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity. This is from, let me get rid of this pop-up ad here. I have that damn thing. This is from CBS News, but again, they're not the ones that did the research. It was the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Policy. In tracking costs associated with what the group calls a basket of American Dream essentials, LISEP says its minimal quality of life index provides a truer picture of how Americans are faring than standard. I almost said farting right there. Sorry. Intrusive thought. How Americans are faring than standard economic data such as the nation's gross domestic product and jobless rate. The index captures the annual change in the typical costs facing low and moderate income households who are looking to maintain a basic quality of life. We analyze these components not just in terms of financial figures, but as crucial elements that shape a family's capability to achieve a desirable standard of living. So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at the total economic picture of a family's ability or an individual's ability to achieve a desirable standard of living. The findings. For the bottom 60% of U.S. households, a minimal quality of life is out of reach. Out of reach. Just a minimal standard of life. The American dream is, for 60% of Americans, is is not possible. The middle class has been declining. We just haven't recognized it fully. It's really dangerous because it's the kind of thing that leads to social unrest, and it's not fair. The American dream is not that it's given to you. It's that if you work hard, you have a chance to get ahead and achieve things in life that you want to achieve. It's not living in a tent, not having to steal. There was somebody in here earlier that was like, I make $90K doing construction. I work my ass off. That's great. There are people who work their ass off at Starbucks and they can't make a living. There are people who work their ass off in construction who don't get paid $90,000 a year. There are people who do research who don't make enough money. There are school teachers. There are firemen. There are police officers. There are people all around this country who work very hard who can't maintain just like the American dream. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos sends his girlfriend and her celebrity friends to space for the fuck of it. And it's not to say that, like, I have a problem with them going to space. I have a problem with the wealth distribution here. That didn't put a dent in his wealth. Most people have to save for a year to go on vacation. I recently bought a plane ticket. It's like, fuck, those are expensive. That kind of sucks. Like, it's a big purchase. But for these folks, they're like, oh, grab me the jet. And that's who's getting the tax breaks. The people who are like, hey, bring the jet. I've decided to go see the Statue of Liberty today. Let's fly from San Francisco to New York. We'll just circle it, and then I'll come back. It's a bad economic structure. It's not about, like, fuck rich people, we're jealous of rich people. It's about the fact that the average American can't do things that 40 years ago they could do. They can't afford things that 40 years ago they could afford. And that's something we should address. Republicans, do you not agree that we should address that? That for some reason 60% of Americans don't have extra money? You don't think we should address that? I think that you do think we should address that. And I think that you think Trump is addressing that. And I think that you think Republicans are addressing that. And that's why we're showing this today. Is because they're not. They're just telling you that they are, but they're not. They're just giving handouts to their rich friends. The lowest earning Americans around the U.S. are falling well short. The households, which in 2023 made an average of $38,000 a year, would need to make $67,000 to afford the items the group tracks as part of its index, which also includes professional clothing and basic leisure activities. You can go through this. You can. The link is in the Discord. I just wanted to cite that study from LICEP. You can go dig into the study more. Here's Representative Stansbury shredding the GOP. She's the greatest. She's my favorite by far. Let's see. Is this the 5-minute one? $7 trillion is the tax break that they are planning on giving the wealthy. $7 trillion. While we're underwater, while we're going in debt, they're giving a $7 trillion tax break at the same time that they are increasing our debt. Someone explain to me how this is going to help.
These guys are proposing to give $7 trillion in tax breaks to billionaires, millionaires, and their corporate donors by taking away food from children. It is that simple. And it's not even that much money that's going to save them on the tax breaks for the rich. But it is literally going to take away food from children. Literally. Now, I've been back in my district meeting with our food banks and people who are advocates for our families who are struggling. And I think, like others on this committee, I grew up in a household that struggled. I grew up in a household that when the worst did occur, when my mother did lose her job, we were on assistance. And I would not be sitting here as a congresswoman today if it was not for the grace of God and for those programs that are.
First of all, it wasn't God. Can we just be honest? It was the programs. Stop crediting God for the programs. This is one of the problems that we have in this country. It was the program. It wasn't God. It was the program. These programs are good. They lift people out of poverty. They help people go on to lead productive lives. They make up for perhaps either bad decisions or bad situations from their parents. They allow children to grow up, to be fed, to have an education, to live a better life, to be more productive. Ultimately, that's what we want. Like, it would be great if taxes were 3%. It would be great if we had no taxes in this country. But until we can lift people out of poverty, until we can have an equitable playing ground, then like we have to keep working on it. But we do need to stop crediting God for things that he had nothing to do with.
Are designed to catch people when they need it, to help people when they are their most vulnerable, to help moms who have kids, to help the elderly who are barely scratching by right now, to help people when they have disabilities, to help people when they end up with a medical emergency and there's nothing else to help them. That is what these programs exist for. That is why they are there. Now, I know that my friends across the aisle like to allege that there's some sort of widespread waste, fraud, and abuse happening. But let me just tell you this. If you've ever been on SNAP, you get a EBT card. This is like a credit card to go grocery shopping. You know how much money you get? $6. You can't even buy a single carton of eggs for $6 right now. Donald Trump's on television literally saying right now that the price of eggs is down. That dude has probably never been grocery shopping in his life, more or less in the last week. And
it is wild that you guys you look to him as if he has any clue. He grew up rich. He's been rich his whole life. He private schools, spoon-fed, never had to face any consequences his whole life. Got to buy his way out of going to serve this country. All you veterans here, thanks for your service. Just remember, this guy was too big of a bitch to serve, and he got out of it. The time when people were drafted, it's one thing if you have like a decision to make, like you want to serve or you don't. Anybody who served, I appreciate it. Anybody who didn't, great. I didn't want to. I have no desire to serve in the military. But Trump was just afraid because he's a little bitch, because he was spoon fed. And you guys, and you look at him like, oh, he's saying he knows. He doesn't know. He has no idea what it's like to go out and buy groceries. He has no idea what grocery prices are. That's why he keeps saying things like gas is $1.98, because he doesn't fucking know. He just makes shit up. And you guys, every day, somebody comes in here and repeats, gas is $1.98 every single day. And it's just not true.
You guys want to steal food from children.
Whoop.
And that is what this amendment would prevent. Now, my food banks in New Mexico, the food banks that serve my population in New Mexico, are telling me that if these SNAP cuts go through this reconciliation package, there will not be enough funding or food in the supply chain to meet the need. It will be not only worse than it was at the height of the pandemic, it will be many times worse than it was during the pandemic. So I want all of you guys to remember what it was like at the height of 2020, when literally our shelves were empty because there was a supply chain crisis, and the cost of food went through the roof, and people couldn't leave their homes, and there was this huge financial crisis. Literally,
I do not think semen is a food group, but your mom does.
That's what we're hurtling towards right now. Between the tariffs, the cost of living, between what's happening to the cost of food, and now they want to cut the most basic program that helps to stretch the gap for our most vulnerable people in our community. If you think the lines that were long during the pandemic were difficult to see, if you cut these food assistance programs, that's what you're going to see all across America. How can we claim to be the wealthiest country on planet Earth, and we've got billionaires in the White House who are literally talking about taking money out of the mouths of children?
How do you sit with this, Republicans? I like, it's sad to see this stuff. I think most of you are trolling, but it's like, yeah, fasting is good for you. And I get that you're an internet troll, and it's kind of funny sometimes. But that's legitimately what's happening. That's the sad part. Like, what you're saying is the same thing they're saying. Donald Trump's like, you can just go without, while he's like, why wouldn't I take a plane? These billionaires are cutting taxes for themselves so they can keep more of their money, while they are literally taking the food out of children's mouths. It's sick. I'm not that I'm not that person. I think that most people aren't that person. I think most people would rather pay a little more in taxes to see starving children be fed. I think most people would pay a little more in taxes to have health care covered. I think most people think that way. And it's a fucking shame that we have let what the Republican Party, where they, I think historically, at least, they sometimes tried to help people. You know, we didn't have this demonization of immigrants before. Now you guys are just like trolls. You're literally the Donald Trump is the second biggest internet troll of all time, and only because Elon Musk bought Twitter, and Elon Musk's number one. You have internet trolls running the country, and all they're doing is helping their rich friends. And you guys just still like them because you're internet trolls too, and you like internet trolls, and it's kind of fun. And admittedly, if I was a Trump supporter, it would be fun. It is nice. Like when I see Jasmine Crockett talk a little bit of shit, it is nice. When I see Dan Goldman talk a little bit of shit, it is nice. When I see Moskowitz talk a little shit, it is nice. I get why you guys like that. But then it's like you forget that there's other things, that you forget that truth matters. You forget that math exists. We're doing the math right now. All of America is doing the math right now. And all of us woke up this morning that did the math and looked at it and said, it looks like that we're having a massive distribution of wealth from the poor to the wealthy. We're just going to continue to put as much wealth in a couple people's hands as we possibly can. And somehow, when you're presented with that information, you've been led to believe that this is good for you, that this will be better for you. And that's what's sad. Honestly, like for every Republican in here defending this, I'm not even mad at you. I'm sad. It's devastating to watch you just be this cucky. We could have great things. You could have a great future for yourself and your family. And likely, most of you, nothing would change in your life. It's not like you're going to lose wages. You would just have more money. Heaven forbid you guys have more money. Heaven forbid you work 38 hours a week instead of 68 hours a week and you can still live. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe you hate your families. Maybe you hate your children. But this is why we have a generation of fucking incels right now who hate women. Because their dads grew up with tough dads, and then they grew up and they had to work too goddamn much. And they never learned how to hug and love their children. And so they raised you, a bunch of incels with fucking daddy issues who scream at women on the internet and yell at poor people and yell at minorities. All because your dad never learned how to love, and then once he became a dad, he had to work too much, so he doesn't know how to love either. Heaven forbid we do something for American families. Heaven forbid we act like the Scandinavians and give people like paid time off, so in the summer you can go take a fucking vacation with your family. Heaven forbid we take care of your medical bills so that you don't ruin your entire life when your kid blows out their knee playing soccer. Heaven forbid that your child gets cancer and you don't have to sell your house and put up a GoFundMe and peddle for money and just beg people every single day, like, please pay us enough to let my child live. Heaven forbid that just go away. And by the way, what does GoFundMe get onto? What do these payment apps get? They take a portion of it, so they're making money off of your kid dying. Yeah, it'd be a fucking nightmare if we didn't have that, wouldn't it? God damn, how bad would America be? Can you imagine? If your kid got sick and you didn't have to sell your house, how could we live in a country like that? And you're out here just like, we gotta give billionaires more fucking money. They need more money, and you guys just aren't working hard enough. This is the messaging that you get. It's the message. You're the messaging to men, to incel men, to Republicans in general, is the reason you don't have what you want is because you didn't work hard enough. And it's just not true. There's been a lot of people who got a lot of money who didn't work very hard. Donald Trump's one of those people. He was handed a fortune. By the way, Donald Trump at his best, if you take Donald Trump at his word, he was a 2 handicap. Which is bullshit. He was never a 2 handicap. He was like an 8. But even at an 8 handicap, that puts you in the top probably 10% of golfers in the world. And golf is really fucking hard, which means he played a lot of golf to get that good at golf. A lot of golf. And his business is real estate. It's not like he's out there pounding nails. This guy doesn't work hard. He just does a lot of things. Elon Musk doesn't work hard. He just goes a lot of places. This idea that these people who are rich work harder than you is fucking bullshit. They figured out a way to accumulate wealth by taking portions of your labor and paying themselves for your work. And they tell you that they get to do that because they had the money. And someday you'll be able to save enough money that you get to be that. And now we've got 60% of Americans who can save $0 a month. So what does that mean for the billionaires? It means less competition. It means they can buy up their competitors far easier. The more the wealth gap widens, the better it is for the billionaires. The easier it is for them. And people are the same thing you criticize us for, the same thing you're criticizing me for right now, that I want life to get a little bit easier. You're saying it shouldn't get easier for me. It shouldn't get easier for you. It should only get easier for them. For the people who already have more money than they could ever spend. And ironically, it's crazy. You run around like to your friends. Like, there's a like Alpha. Who's that fucking sales guy? Let me find him. Think about the people that are influential for men, for conservative men, for businessmen. And think about their messaging to you every time. Grant Cardone's a great example. Grant Cardone will tell you all day long, all you got to do is work 20 hours a day, and you could be. Then I built my real estate fortune off of hard work, working 20 hours a day. And yet, then I could watch a podcast where somebody's like, I've known Grant Cardone for 20 years, and that guy works 9 to 5, and then he goes home and he spends a bunch of time with his kids, and he goes on vacation with kids. He's a very present parent. And then he goes out and he stands on a stage where you paid him $20,000 for shit you could have learned on ChatGPT for free. I don't mean to sound like Goodwill Hunting right now, but he's just telling you generic shit, and you pay him 20 grand, and he's telling you on stage, I work my fucking ass off. And all the people that know him are like, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You know how he built his real estate empire? Because you guys pay him $20,000 to repeat generic shit, but because he yells and because he screams about it, you're like, oh, he really does know. Meanwhile, he's taking all that money you gave him to speak and he's investing it in real estate where he's the first money, or he's the last money in and the first money out. And everybody's getting fucked. Who's that bald guy that's in sales? He works out all the time. You can hire him to come fucking scream at you. Sales training. I bet I can find him if I can just go on YouTube. Who's that guy that screams at people? Somebody, where's my incels here? Who's the incels? Who's the guy that screams at you with a bald head? Somebody give me that name. He started off in car sales. Anybody can build. If anybody can build a real estate fortune, then how come almost nobody does? Again, you're just repeating shit that you've heard. Those guys tell you that anybody can do it because they can do it, and you just believe them. You don't ever look at their financials. Go look at all their financials. Go look at where they're actually making their money. It's never in real estate. In fact, most of them are kind of shitty at real estate. Grant Cardone's kind of shitty at real estate. Grant Cardone just killed that 10X, or what's that company? Not 10X, that's his. Who's that guy that was doing like all the biological testing? I get it. I'm a high school dropout making $200,000 a year. Yeah, no excuses. Yeah, but not everybody wants to do that job. That's the point. This is the point of this. And you guys do this all the time. You demonize poor people. Why can't somebody have a dream to be a school teacher? And why can't that person dream to be a school teacher and also have enough money to live and to go on vacation? Why do they have to go into finance? Why do they have to go into sales? I've been in sales my whole life. You know what I fucking hate about sales? Is that if you're good at sales, you're a goddamn liar. There's never been a good salesman who wasn't a fucking liar. Quote me. Tell me who the greatest salespeople in the world are. Every one of them are liars. That's what I didn't like about sales. You're not allowed to be honest. Okay, wait. You're thinking of Gary Brecka. So Gary Brecka, that's that guy. He has I don't remember what his company's called. You know why he lost his company? You know why he's broke now? Because he got in bed with Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone was like, we're going to 10x your business. We're going to bring in all these people. We're going to run sales training, and we're going to 10x your business. And what did Grant Cardone actually do? he got ownership of the business and he gutted it. And he immediately took the biometric testing from like $300 a year to $1,500 a year. And he geared it only towards rich people. And then he took the assets of the company and he gutted it until they were bleeding money. And now Gary Brecka is broke. You can go watch the Joe Rogan episode of Gary Brecka admitting like, yeah, I'm fucked now. I have to start all over because I got in bed with these shady salespeople like Grant Cardone who say like making money is easy. Go ahead, go watch. Let's see this. Grant Cardone did like an undercover series. I only watched episode 1. It's called Undercover Billionaire, I think. Is that the one?
There's 12 million people follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
We have a goal with this company to have more investors
so the
than we
idea
have customers.
behind this is Grant Cardone was like, everybody says that it's easy. It's not easy to make money. I'm going to prove through this Undercover Billionaire program that it's easy to make money. Now, first of all, he's like, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fly somewhere else on my private plane.
It's just hard to be away from. It reminds me of, just not.
And then he's going to get all his makeup done. He's going to fly on this plane. And he's going to now, he's now landed. He's got a car somehow. He's supposed to be homeless, but he's got a car. And he lands, now he's going to go find a job.
This is a suicide mission, man.
Wow. Thank you. It's crazy.
It's nicer than the first truck I had. RV dealers, Pueblo, Colorado. Every RV place is gonna close at 5. I got one shot. Yeah, my name's Lewis. I was coming out. I'm looking for an RV actually, and I wanted to come out today. How late are you open?
We're open till 5 o'clock.
Okay, I'm gonna come out there and see you. My name is Lewis Curtis.
All right, we'll see you then.
Thanks.
All right, so now he goes, this is what's crazy. So now he's going to go to the RV dealership. He's got $100. First of all, he pulled up with a camera crew. He's trying to prove to you that he can make it. He showed up with a camera crew. This guy's supposed to be homeless with $100. And he shows up with a camera crew. And then what he does is he convinces this guy to like give him an RV, to let him live in an RV while working there. You should go watch it. It's absurd. It's absolutely fucking absurd what they try and get you to believe. Like, oh, it's easy to be rich. Just get a camera crew, convince somebody with an RV center to give you a job and give you an RV and let you live there for free. It's easy. Sounds like a handout to me too, doesn't it? Isn't that interesting? The Grant Cardone, Mr. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, the first thing he did was ask for a fucking handout? Isn't that interesting? That even Grant Cardone, the salesman of all salesmen, the very first thing he does is goes and asks for a handout. It's not that easy, guys. It's just not that easy to make money. For everybody in here talking about how much money you make, I don't believe you, because what the fuck are you doing in here arguing non-points? And 2, look at America. Just 60%. What are you saying? That 60% is too stupid to do it, so we should just let them die? We shouldn't make it easier on them. We should make it more difficult. But the people that made all the money, we need to make their life a lot easier. It's an embarrassing position that you guys have been forced to take. Let's get back to Stansberry here.
It is.
He quit. That's right. He quit. The whole series is he quits. He's like, it's too fucking hard. And then he just quit.
Not only unconscionable, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. How do we live in a society where we're even debating this? We are a country of plenty, and yet these guys want to give tax breaks to billionaires by starving children.
Hey, Matt, what's 15% of zero? If you have $0 at the end of the month to pay your bills, and you save 15% of that $0 every month, how much is that? Yeah, this is so generic. This is why you guys listen to people, dumbasses like Jordan Peterson, that they oversimplify everything. Really, all you got to do is make your bed and save your money. Okay, well, what if your rent all of a sudden goes up? What if you're living in a city and you're a school teacher and you can't afford a mortgage, and then all of a sudden your rent goes up by $400? Then what? Well, I made my bed this morning, and I have a good attitude. Then what? Then your answer, by the way, is go get a different job. Okay, But that still leaves school teachers who live there who can't afford to live. So now that trickles down to bad education or no education. All of your solutions lead to poor people dying. All because you want to act tough like, oh, I made it. Listen, it's not that hard to make a lot of money. The wealthiest I've ever been was the time I worked the least amount, to be honest. Once you have people, once there's labor underneath you, and you participate in that labor, and you participate in the profits from that labor, but it's not your labor, it gets exponentially easier. This is the hardest job I've ever done, if we're being honest. It's the hardest job I've ever done. It requires 4 to 6 hours of research a day and 3.5 hours of streaming. And that not to mention the back end stuff, which isn't that significant. Thank God I've got Jen. I couldn't do it without Jen. I would have no time. And I've got to raise a child. My mom worked her ass off. She worked 12-hour days every day as a school teacher, and she never made enough money that she could have supported us on her own. Never. She was Teacher of the Year like 10 times. She was recognized by the state like multiple times as being one of the best teachers in the state, and she didn't make enough money to live. Fortunately, we were a 2-income family. Like, my dad worked too, but she could not have supported us. That's the problem. That it's such simple brain shit. You have to understand that there are jobs that exist that need to exist, and if those jobs don't pay a living wage, then those people die or they go away. Who's going to teach your children? Is that like? It's just so important that Elon and Bill Gates, they all have more money. Once again, going back to that graph, they are getting all the benefit. We are making life easier for billionaires and harder for the poorest among us. The poorest among us will see their taxes increase. The richest among us will see their taxes decrease. And you're still fighting for it. That's a crazy thing to fight for. That's dumb.
It's ridiculous.
Jen, you want to do announcements one more time, and I'll add up. I'll add to yours. Jen's going to come in with some real energy this time. Guys, just before Jen goes, she hates doing this, so give her a break. But like we said, we are crowdfunded. And so if you've been here for a while and you can give, we'd love to have you. Love to see new people giving. We hope someday that we don't have to be crowdfunded like this, but that's the reality that we live in. So if you can't help, let us know. I'll read anything that you write. And Republicans, you got an hour left to hop in the box and defend your positions. Hey, Jen.
But they won't. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. They won't. I don't know if they're scared or keyboard warriors, snowflake, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, like Jay mentioned, we got about a little over an hour left. We go till 1 Pacific Standard Time. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out the remaining balance of that gift goal that's in the top left-hand corner. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you're on YouTube, please like the stream, the little red heart in the corner. Also check out our other social media platforms that we're on and our merch. We also have 4 different memberships on YouTube. So all of that would help us out a lot and also engage with our content. So let's see. I updated my list of jokes today, so I'm trying to figure out which ones I want to go through. There's a variety, and I can't decide. Not all construction work is equally enjoyable. For instance, drilling a large hole is boring, but fastening 2 pieces of metal together is riveting.
I liked that one.
I know.
I liked that one. The dumber the better.
And since we were talking about, building stuff and working hard, I thought that was appropriate.
Thank you. Amy said, because Jen lets me. Just Jen lets me. Lets you what? M. Scott, I didn't see that. Sadmir. That's a good new nickname. I like that. I like Sadmir. I think we should start doing that. He gets real emotional when he hits those edibles. Melissa said, Dollar Train, 1 for you and 1 for the spicy comments. I think I got all those. All right, thank you. Teachers today are a joke. Kids can't read or do simple math. Yeah, shut the fuck up, Johnny. But ban Johnny. Johnny boy has to go. Johnny, this is just personal. My mom's a teacher. Fuck you. Johnny's banned forever. Teachers aren't a joke, Johnny. You're a joke. You can say a lot of things, but we're not going to go about teachers. And you're a little bitch who won't come up here anyway. So Johnny's banned forever. One of the mods get Johnny banned forever. We're not going to talk about teachers like that. Devin said for Jen and Jen only. Okay, thank you. I'll make sure to mark that down. Let me get to some Christy Gnome shit real quick. Is it here? First I want to show you. So the 12-year-old boy in Waltham, Massachusetts was arrested and then left alone. Or not arrested. The person he was with was arrested and he was left alone. This is what we're doing to families. Now, look, I understand that you guys love to take out illegal immigrants, and I understand that you're going to say if somebody's here illegally, it's their fault. I agree. But do we need to be this inhumane? I think you should watch this and decide whether or not it's important to be this inhumane.
Boy left by himself on a Waltham sidewalk after ICE agents take away the adult with him.
It makes me feel sick to my stomach as a mom, as a human being.
Waltham City Councilor Colleen Bradley MacArthur was on Felton Street recording these videos as it happened.
If we weren't there, I mean, he would have just been left on the sidewalk.
Instead, she says neighborhood watch volunteers walked him home. They patrolled the streets in these pink vests, and they were there that day as ICE agents watched them.
They rolled their windows down and had their cell phones and were recording us and taking pictures of us.
You said at one point a car drove at you?
Yes, I was standing on the sidewalk over in the corner. I could tell what he was doing. He was trying to intimidate me with his car.
When that agent got out of his vehicle, she asked,
"Which agency are you with? You need to tell me. It's the law. You're supposed to tell me who you're with." He didn't answer and then turned around and shouted,
"You need to stand back and not interfere."
"I'm not interfering. I'm observing, and legally I am allowed to."
She says by law, federal agents must identify who they are with, and by state law, local law enforcement cannot assist. She reached out to Waltham police after seeing officers at another ICE incident days later.
They've assured me that they're not taking part.
We reached out to Waltham police but have not heard back. A similar incident in Worcester last week sparked outrage in the community when Worcester police were on scene when 2 people were arrested for interfering with an ICE arrest. In the future, Bradley MacArthur would like to bring volunteers and local law enforcement together for a discussion on how best to handle safety at these situations.
There are two different types of people in this world, in this country. There are people who see this and they celebrate it because they're sick fucks, and then there are people who see this and want to change it. And we might have difference of opinions on how to change it. For Republicans who support this the mass deportation, we can have a discussion about that. But this type of violence, these type of acts, separating parents and children, deporting American citizens. Undergoing cancer treatments. If we can't agree that we can be a little more humane in enforcing our laws, then I think we're just not going to agree. But I will say, if you're the person that's celebrating this, like, fuck you, honestly, fuck you. And I think a lot of Republicans would side with me in saying, fuck you. They don't want you in their party either. They don't want to be inhumane. There are a significant amount of Republicans who are decent people who don't want to be inhumane, but you sick motherfuckers make them look bad. And I hope at some point they turn on you. And I hope that happens soon, because you guys are just gross. You're just miserable fucks that show up every day and you celebrate the mistreatment of immigrants. All because you were lucky enough to be born here. You didn't do shit to deserve being here. Your parents had mediocre sex and made a mediocre child, and they didn't give you any love. So you're on the internet now yelling at immigrants because your life is fucking miserable. And not everybody's you. Most people are good. Most people see this and they don't want any part of it. That's why for the first time since Trump has been in office, he is underwater on immigration. He started off, I think he was in like the 60s. You guys are right. When you say Trump, like people voted for Trump because they liked his immigration policy, you're right about that. What you're wrong about is that your interpretation of his policy was their interpretation, because they didn't think he was going to do this. And now that he's doing this, they're turning on him. So now he's under 50% approval rating on immigration. You guys are just sick fucks, and you thought that other people were sick fucks too. But you're just your own lonely sick fucks. The rest of the world looks at this and they don't agree. And I'm sorry that you're fucking miserable. I really am. And I'm sorry. I'm sure you're going to go take it out on your pocket pussy here in a minute. But I'm sorry you're miserable. And I hope things get better for you. Here's, again, in Waltham, here's is this HSI? Yeah, HSI, Homeland Security agents pulling people over. And now they've just decided that we can also destroy property. They don't have the right to do traffic stops. But now they're doing traffic stops. And then when people don't comply with their traffic stop, they break their shit.
And I'll leave you alone. Where is it? Do you have it?
Do you guys have a warrant? Do you have a warrant for arresting this man?
Yeah, you're full of shit, Matt. You're too fucking stupid to realize this, and I'm getting tired of Matt today. But you're too fucking stupid to realize this. He never once at any of his rallies said that he was going to use ICE and he was going to round up people in the streets and that he was going to detain and arrest American citizens and that he would smash in their windows. He never said any of this. That was your wet dream. That's what you hoped. But I will challenge you. Find me a clip where Donald Trump says he's going to send Homeland Security out into the streets and break in car windows and detain and deport children and leave children sitting on the curb where the adult that they were with was just deported. Just show me that clip. This is just what you wanted. And now you're lying to yourself, and that's maybe worse. The lies that you tell yourself to justify what's happening right now. If that was true, then certainly we would have clips of Donald Trump saying that. He never said that. He never said he would do any of this. It's just that you like it, so you're pretending that he said it. You've all turned into chronic liars. You all lie about things every single day. You lie about what your own eyes are seeing. You lie about what your own ears are hearing. That's why it's a cult. No matter what he does, tomorrow Donald Trump could change the rules and he's be like, we're going to shave the heads of every woman. And you would just show up tomorrow and you'd be like, we voted for this. You'll just say it because all you voted for was cruelty. You didn't listen to what he said.
Do you guys have a warrant? Do you have a warrant for arresting this man?
Warrantless arrests. Warrantless arrest, smashing in windows. Cool.
I need to see a warrant. You have masked men taking people, abducting people without a warrant.
Why are these bitches wearing masks, by the way? Why are these bitch-ass bitches wearing masks? And by the way, when we're going to talk about standards, where's the military standards for this guy? What are the standards for HSI? Show up to work in your pajamas? Throw on a mask? It's getting hard to believe now at this point. It's getting hard to not or to ignore the conspiracy theories that these are actually just a bunch of deputized white nationals or white nationalists, because this is what they did then too. It's what all of you do. All of you white nationalists. You guys are such unmitigated pussies. You sit behind masks, you sit behind keyboards, you don't stand on business ever because you don't know how to fight. You just say you just like making people mad because you're fucking miserable. Why the masks? Why the masks here? We got to protect them. I don't think so.
Without IDs.
¿Cómo te llamas para buscarte? Mira, allá no firmes nada. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿A quién llamo?
No tengo un familiar, no que solo conozco a la familia Teo.
Ok. No firmes nada y les voy a decir que traten de conseguirte un abogado, ¿viste? And I hope you guys go every night to sleep and see your kids and know that you're...
There are those who will celebrate it, and I hope you openly continue to celebrate it because it'll turn people against you. It's sick. And what benefit is that, by the way? It's one thing if this was like a violent criminal. This guy's at work. He's in a fucking work truck. He's working. The thing that you claim, we can't have illegal immigrants here because they're leeching off the system. That guy's at work. That guy's clearly working. He's not causing any problems for anyone. And we've got to kidnap them in mass. We got to throw on masks and kidnap these people. Make up your minds. Is it about work or is it or not? Because it seems an awful lot like it's about the fact that they're brown. That's what it seems like. Have you seen a single white... Can anybody find me a video? I don't know if it exists. Can anybody find me a video of a white person getting detained by ICE, them smashing out the windows and arresting them in broad daylight? Does anybody have a video of that? I haven't seen it. Do you know how many white illegal immigrants there are here in this country? A lot. My best friend for years was an illegal immigrant in this country, and he was white. Nobody ever fucked with him. I lived in Arizona. I had other friends that were here illegally, and they got fucked with all the time. But my white friend never got fucked with. His name never came up. They knew he was here illegally. How come they seem to be only targeting people from Central America? If it's about illegal immigration, then it should be everybody. If it's about leeching off the system, then why are we arresting people who clearly are not leeching off the system? People that are actually working. It's just racism. The people that are celebrating this, you're just racist. You're just white nationalists. You're just sad little fucks. And your time in the sun, you guys, there's this big movement and you feel that you were part of it. And slowly the movement that you were part of is realizing that they don't want to be part of your movement. They don't want to be associated with you anymore. And that's why your movement is slowly dying. I hope it speeds up a little bit here soon. I'm going to skip the Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries warned that Democrats, should Democrats storm the ICE facility if they get arrested. I don't know what his warning is. I'm not going to show it. But here's Kristi Noem, just like admitting, like, when we bring in white refugees, it restores the validity or the integrity of our immigration system.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem is here. You probably will not be.
Sorry, real quick. Thank you, Jocelyn, for the super chat. Tony said Matt's a PAB. Elsie said thank you for the super chat, and Amy Lynn said, but it's not a Tesla. Also, did you Dems flipped another Republican stronghold in Nebraska? I saw that for mayor. It was Omaha, I think, right? Omaha has their first Democrat mayor. Amanda said, how do you get Trump to change a light bulb? Tell him Biden put it in. Keep up the great work, guys, from Cindy Lou in Texas. El Dizzle said, for Jay, Jen, and team, thanks for all you do. Okay, I think I got all this. All right, here's Kristi Noem.
Reporting these white South.
This is a weird thing people do. The smile.
You probably will not be deporting these white South African farmers, will you?
No, Jesse, what President Trump is doing is adding integrity back into our immigration programs and our refugee programs, making sure that individuals that get the chance to come to America, be a part of opportunity and freedom and liberty, are actually people who are being persecuted by their government at home, that are having acts of violence perpetuated by them.
Now, their government doesn't confirm this, and nobody can seem to tell us what acts of violence were committed on these people. But yeah, it's restoring. It's restoring. What was the word? The integrity. We brought in some whites. We needed more whites. We're restoring the integrity by bringing in whites.
South African families had their land taken from them. The South African government was committing and perpetuating and facilitating acts of violence against them and their families.
When? Where? Which of these people had acts of violence perpetuated against them? Are we going to ever get any specifics on that? Are we ever going to get any specifics on who these people are?
And they have found a place in the United States of America where they can sleep peacefully at night. This is exactly what President Trump said he would do during the campaign and committed to the American.
Yeah, if you're what? Because Trump brought in some Venezuelans too. Trump brought in a bunch of Venezuelans, gave them temporary protected status as well, and then he deported them. He just flipped overnight, and he's like, never mind, fuck you, and then just started deporting them.
People is that he would put integrity back into this country. He would follow the rule of law and make sure that he followed the refugee program just like Congress dictated it should operate.
Matt, stop being educated by Twitter, bud. I'm getting tired of Matt. Matt sucks. Hey, Matt, you've been here for 3 hours now. You can't figure out a way to work Discord out. You're brilliant. Remember, Can't figure out a way to come up here and use your voice? You're just going to sit there for 3 hours? Remember, guys, Matt's a very hard worker. Matt gave the advice that if you want to be successful like Matt, you got to work 10-hour days, come home, and then you got to work more. Now, Matt has been here for 3.5 hours. And Matt will be back here again probably tomorrow. Matt sure seems to have a lot of time as a construction worker in the middle of the fucking day. Are you doing night construction there, Matt? Is that what's going on? Is this your best life, RTP? Yeah, I don't know. I like my life. I appreciate you asking. Johnny said, just to be clear, Johnny boy, not Johnny. Oh, what did you say? I don't know what that means. Just to be clear, Johnny boy, not Johnny Longtrail. I didn't see that. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe send that to Jen. I may be missing what you're saying, Johnny. All right. This kills me. I feel like this has to be the one. We have to be able to agree on this. We have to be able to agree on this. That Kristi Noem refuses to answer a question because Donald Trump lied, and she is not allowed to say that Donald Trump lied, and none of you are. If we can't agree on this, I don't know what we do.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. You have an important job. I think you have one of the most important jobs in the cabinet. Thank you for doing it. I want you to have credibility and be taken seriously as you do the job. And so I want to put to rest this question about Mr. Garcia in this photo that the president posted on April 21. Madam Secretary, you agree that the letters...
It's hard to see, but this is the hand where he had the tattoos, and then they had superimposed MS13 on the hand. It was obviously a doctored photo, and they're just going to ask Kristi Noem, is this doctored? And she's terrified. Because this guy, they're not allowed to say anything bad about this guy because you're in a fucking cult. So Kristi Noem is going to spend, this is a 3.5-minute video. 3.5 minutes, she's going to refuse to answer the most simple question possible. We have to be able to agree that if you work in elected office, if you work in an administration, you should be required to tell the truth. And something like this, like you shouldn't be afraid that telling the truth will get you in trouble with your boss.
MS and the number 13 in Times Roman numeral font, that they are doctored on this photo, right?
Congressman Abrego Garcia.
No, I'm just asking about this photo.
It wasn't based off of tattoos. It was based off an entire case.
And I'll accept that
case against him.
For the purpose of this question. You agree, though, that this is doctored. Is that right?
The same protocols.
You're welcome, Matt. I'm glad you finally got my attention. You've been trying really hard all day today, so it's the least I could do is give you a little attention. Give you a belly scratch later, too.
That are
Madam
applied
Secretary,
to every
I want you to have
individual with
credibility,
law enforcement.
and I want you to be taken seriously. Is this doctored or is it not
Sir,
doctored?
I am taken quite seriously
Is
because
it doctored
I
or not
with
doctored?
the importance that the president has given me to do
I understand.
my job.
Is it doctored or not
One thing
doctored?
that's important to remember is that every single time a case is built,
Madam Secretary,
against
I have a
individuals
7-year-old,
in
a
the same
6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I have a bullshit detector. I'm just asking you, is this doctored or not doctored?
Sir, the protocols in the case built against
Can you
Abrego
answer the
Garcia
question?
were exactly the same.
Madam Secretary,
I don't have
you're-
any knowledge as to that photo you're pointing to.
Okay. Can you
I
take
don't,
her?
sir.
Can you show her the photo? Walk her the photo down there. No, that one. Please take a look at this photo. It was tweeted by the president on April 21. It's been hanging out there for about a month.
So what is your point?
My question is the numbers and the letter MS13. Could you look at the photo, please? It's right in front of
Are
you.
you saying Abrego
She won't
Garcia is not a
even
white
look at the photo. She is staring straight ahead. This is her right here. You can clearly see she's staring straight ahead. She won't even look at this photo. You guys are so afraid of saying something bad about Donald Trump, and she's so afraid of admitting in front of these people that Donald Trump either doesn't know or lied about that photo, that she won't even fucking look at it. And this is important. This is important because Donald Trump used this as his justification of proof of why this person is a member of MS-13. He said that. He said that's part of the proof. And by the way, it is part of their evidence. And she's going to cite, they do this all the time, she's going to cite a judge ruling that, yeah, he probably was part of MS-13. And part of that was based on these tattoos. In fact, most of it was based on these tattoos. Otherwise, all you had was loose affiliation. He knew people who were in a gang. I know people who were in gangs. If you live if you've ever lived in diverse places, you probably know somebody who's either in a gang or who has been in a gang. But this is what they use to lock him up for life, and she won't even look at it. The cowardice of this administration is unparalleled. I've never seen such a group of cucked adults. And by the way, let's be clear on Kristi Noem. She's not qualified for this job, and she's not terribly intelligent. She got this job by kissing Trump's ass, and she will keep this job by kissing Trump's ass. That's all he wants. That's all you guys want. Because if she were to come out and say Trump was mistaken, you guys would turn on her. You would. And look, the people in the chat are still saying it. He's MS-13. Oh, yeah? What's the evidence? Is the evidence anything more than I said? He was caught. He was sitting outside in a Home Depot, and he had cash. And somebody that he was outside Home Depot with was a known gang member. And he has these tattoos. That is the entirety of the evidence that he's in a gang, just so we're clear. So if you're going to stand up here and say, like, if you're going to sit there and say he's definitely in a gang, I just want to be clear that you saying he's definitely in a gang is because of these tattoos and because of his proximity to someone else who was in a gang. Not because he was convicted of a crime, not because he was convicted of gang violence, not because he was caught during a sting for gang members, not because of anything other than one person, a police officer, who, by the way, isn't even allowed to testify in court anymore because he has got caught lying so many times that the state has ruled he cannot be a witness. That is the one witness who has linked him to a gang. So you have a witness who gets caught lying all the time. He has a friend who's in a gang and MS-13 tattoos. And you're comfortable saying he's in a gang. Why? Because he's not a what? Let's just be real fucking honest about that. Because you want to talk about organized crime? You want to talk about gangs? How about the fact that when the Russian mafia was raided and they brought down the Russian mafia, the place they went to raid was Trump fucking Tower? And how about the fact that the Russian mafia paid cash for those apartments? And how about Trump's association with organized crime his entire life? No, he's innocent. He's innocent. But this guy, because he's brown and he has tattoos, we're comfortable calling that guy a criminal. But the guy holding the picture is an actual convicted felon. And we can't even get you guys to call an actual convicted felon, but a guy who has been convicted of no crime, he's a gang member. Okay. Do you see the problem we have here? We live in two different realities. The what, who was convicted of a felony, not a felon. The brown person who was not convicted of a felony is obviously should spend their life in jail. And this coward right here won't even look at the picture.
No, ma'am.
But he's not a criminal.
Ma'am,
he's not a human trafficker. And he's not a member of MS.
You vouched for Mr. Garcia when your team said, ma'am, you vouched for him when you said he was mistakenly deported.
Sir,
I didn't vouch for him.
I did not say
in that
he
photo.
Should have been deported. Absolutely.
It's so telling that you won't look at the photo.
And we will not be bringing
Was
him back
it
to
doctored or not?
in staying here.
Can you look to your right at the photo in front of you? Madam Secretary, can you look to the right at the photo?
These are the actions of an actual crazy person. No sane person would be asked a question and just fucking stare straight ahead and filibuster. That's crazy person shit. If you ever have a friend that does that, don't be friends with that person anymore. This is actual crazy person shit. This is cult shit. This reminds me so much of the NXIVM cult when people were asked questions about Keith Raniere and his victims stood straight ahead and they were all done up and they had their makeup on and they refused to answer the questions. Is Keith Raniere abusive? Keith Raniere is a great man who has helped many people and he runs a great organization that helps many people. Does he abuse people? Keith Raniere is a great man and he runs a great organization and he helps people. What do you say to the victims who claim he abused them? Keith Raniere is a great man and he runs a great organization and he helps people. This is crazy shit. This is not what a sane, normal human being does. And the only reason you're defending it is because you voted for Trump and you can't admit that this is crazy, but good Lord, this is crazy. This is not a good look. The rest of the world is looking at that going, what the fuck? If this was a movie, everybody watching the movie would be like, okay, that person's lying. Yeah, that person's hiding something. The person who refuses to answer a basic question is probably hiding something. Unless you're MAGA, in which case it's like, look at them, they're so amazing. Look at them refuse to tell the truth. She did such a great job protecting Donald Trump.
In front of you.
I have seen this
Okay.
photo as you held it behind your head.
Thank you. And the letters MS and the numbers 13, are those doctored
Is this your
or
entire
not?
testimony today is on a doctored photo? You don't want
He's not giving testimony, you dumb fucking moron. See, again, he asked the question and she just starts gaslighting. Change the subject. This is why it's so fucking hard to debate you guys, is because we can't get you to like even talk like human beings. Is that a doctored photo? Is this your whole thing? 12th time. How many more times does he have to ask her the same fucking question for her to give an answer?
want to talk about the facts,
Okay,
the
so
importance of our national security.
You acknowledge it was
do
doctored.
to make sure that the United States is protected.
Madam Secretary,
from
this is not a hard
violent
question.
criminals?
Are those doctored or not?
Sir,
is that actually on his hand or not?
This is unbelievable to me that you're focused.
It's unbelievable to me
photo
that you can't
think-
look at the photo and tell the
I
American
looked at
people.
the photo, but I don't have any knowledge as to this photo.
Okay, so it's been hanging out there.
Why, first of all, why not? This is the evidence that you claimed. You're the head. It's your fucking department. You are comfortable sitting on a stage saying this man is 100% a gang member who should be in prison. And the evidence that he is a gang member is that fucking photo. So how can you stand here and say, I know that this person is a gang member, and I also don't know any of the evidence? This is the evidence that you guys used. She has no fucking clue. She's a talking head. She's a figurehead. They put some, by the way, let me just be really clear on this and how this works. I have like Republican adjacent friends who don't follow things. And every time I send a video of Kristi Noem saying something crazy to any of my Republican friends, do you know what they all say? Whoa, she's hot. Yeah, I don't know, man, but she's hot. That's by design. We are simple creatures, and we are easily manipulated by what we think is attractive. Okay, it's not that hard to dupe us. But every time I send a video to one of my friends about what she's saying, she's hot. There's been like 10 comments in here. She's hot. Fine. If you want to fuck Kristi Noem, that's great for you. I'm not really interested in your fantasies. I do want to know what we think about the fact that she will not answer a question, and it's just, she's hot. They chose her for this reason. She paid thousands of dollars to get plastic surgery so that she looked identical to the other Mar-a-Lago moms, and so she could hide the person she used to be. And she gets her hair made up, and they all take Ozempic, and they all get implants, and they all get cheek implants, and they all get lip fillers, so that when they're saying nothing and when they're refusing to do their job, the men, the people who vote for Trump, his base, which is white, horny men, don't notice that she's crazy. This is a crazy person. But you don't notice because you're like, she's hot. This is by design. Let's call a spade a spade. How many people, while I just said that, how many Republicans in the chat actually said, well, yeah, she is hot? That's how we're doing this. That's how we've always done this. If you want somebody to be able to lie and say stupid shit, you have two options if you're a Republican. A rich white guy, because Republicans will always listen to a rich white guy, or a woman that they think is hot. And then those people can say anything they want. But if you're somebody that they don't find attractive, or if you're somebody who isn't a rich businessman, Republicans will be skeptical. Think about it. I can get every Republican to admit Marjorie Taylor Greene's an idiot. But Marjorie Taylor Greene might be smarter than Kristi Noem. I'll never get any of you to admit that Kristi Noem is an idiot. None of you. You're just distracted. You just get distracted by what you're looking at. And it works. You got to be less simple.
For 4 weeks, you are one of the chief law enforcement officials in the country. What have you done to investigate whether the president misrepresented the reason that that person has been detained?
Sir,
have you done anything to try and figure out whether that was doctored or not?
The mission of the Department of Homeland Security is to secure.
Not going to answer it again. That's the evidence. That's the evidence she's providing. She just won't answer. She doesn't know. He's definitely a gang member, but I don't know any of the evidence.
Secure our nation and to make sure that we're out there going after those that are the worst of the worst, the criminals, the bad actors. Abrego Garcia.
So the answer is you've done nothing to correct the president.
Member of MS-13, a wife beater and a human trafficker that should never have been.
Let's talk about wife beating and human trafficking. Now, these are both accusations. Human trafficking is not an accusation. He was never accused of human trafficking. He was accused of hitting his wife. And I would like to go on the record and say that if I had to make a judgment on whether or not Abrego Garcia abused his wife, I would say, yep, I think he did. And if you asked me, do I think Abrego Garcia is a good guy? I would say no. In fact, I would even say, do I think that it's important for Abrego Garcia to stay in the United States and not be deported? I would say no. If you are a person who does those things, I don't really think that we need to bring you into this country. I'm actually 100% comfortable with Abrego Garcia coming back, getting due process, and if they decide they want to deport him after that, deport him, but not back to prison. Our contention with Abrego Garcia is you cannot take somebody and give them a life prison sentence without a crime. Nobody would know the name Kilmar Abrego Garcia if he had been deported. We're not arguing that he shouldn't be deported. We're arguing that he shouldn't be given a life sentence and labeled a terrorist without evidence. That should be basic. And for everybody here, for this dumb motherfucker here, and for everybody else here who calls Abrego Garcia a wife beater because of an accusation that was later retracted by his wife, then where the fuck were you when Trump's wife accused him of rape? Suddenly we believe women? Where the fuck were you when E. Jean Carroll was out there proving that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her? Where are you on the 30-plus accusations of sexual abuse by Donald Trump? Where are you with the 14-year-old girl who accused Trump of raping her? Where were you? Tell me you're not fucking racist for 1 second. Tell me, when it's a brown man who doesn't get convicted, yep, he's guilty. When it's a white rich dude, we better make this motherfucker the president, shouldn't we? I just want to know. Is there any like rhyme or reason to when you decide somebody is and isn't a criminal? Because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck your standards are. If your standards are that the wife reported it to the police, and so you should believe the wife, I agree. I believe her. I believe that he hit his wife. I believe her. I believe Trump's wife. I believe, I want to get the name right. I believe Katie, is it Katie Cox? Is that the name? I believe E. Jean Carroll. I've heard firsthand what it has done to her family. This is what's wrong with America, is that we are deciding guilt on with our political bias, and only with our political bias. The Republicans, you all think that Joe Biden's a criminal. Nobody's charged him with a crime. But Donald Trump is a criminal, and you say he's not. If you care about human trafficking, where were you guys when Donald Trump nominated Matt Gaetz to be the attorney general? Where were you then? You guys, I was a Republican for a long time. Every time they built a new mosque in any town, the Republicans were screaming from the rooftops, Sharia law. And now we're out here openly taking bribes? Donald Trump has ripped away everything you believe. And he replaced it with Donald Trump. And so now you just believe whatever's best for Donald Trump. This is sick. It's embarrassing. It's sick. It's wrong. It's immoral. It's evil. She works for us. Why is she not answering questions? And why are you celebrating that she's not answering questions? You keep telling this is the most transparent administration in the history of the world, which is fucking stupid on its face. But you guys talk about transparency all the fucking time. Donald Trump is so transparent. Earlier today, Mr. Wonderful was like, well, Donald Trump can't be corrupt taking bribes because he did it in the open. He can do it in the open because you guys don't fucking care. You only care if it's anybody that doesn't like Donald Trump. If it was a Republican who's been like lukewarm on Trump, you would immediately say they were guilty. There has to be standards. There has to be laws. There has to be precedent. This doesn't make any fucking sense. We can't deport people on accusations and then elect people who are convicted and then say that the person accused is actually the problem, that the person elected was not the problem. There's no coming back from that shit. By the way, cry. Nobody's crying here. I'm openly mocking you. And maybe this is the problem. Like, maybe we're too fucking stupid as a country. I'm mocking you, and you think I'm complaining. No, I'm saying you're stupid. I'm saying I think you should be better. That's what I'm saying. And this is just to the chatters that are here. The generic Republicans agree with me. Generic Republicans don't see this and enjoy it. It's the trolls in the chat that you guys show up every day. You guys are who I have a problem with. And I think that the reality is, like, you might just not be intelligent enough to figure this shit out. So you just put on your hate blinders and you go to work every day. It's like, no matter what happens today, I'm going to blame it on the libs. And so when this dummy shows up in Congress and doesn't answer a question, I'm going to blame the libs for it. I would never blame her for it. No, she's on my side. I can't blame her. I'll check that midnight. Appreciate it. Let's see. Let me read something real quick. No, Jen, I don't want to have that debate right now. I'm not a Guam. I appreciate you. I'm not a socialist. So I think we probably agree. I don't think that would be a very good debate. All right, let me read some messages here. Tony says, Trump probably, if it ain't white, it ain't right. Yeah, probably. I think that's been in the chat today. Somebody in the chat definitely said, if it ain't white, it ain't right. Ryan said, start a fund to make math real, make math real again. Amanda says, fuck Trump, funk ICE. Thank you for that. Let me check the PayPal. There we go. Justin said, thanks for all you do, Jay. I watch you every day and I appreciate the work you put in. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. Did I miss any other ones here? Chamar says, MAGA idiots think pocket pussy sex is real sex. All right. Perfect. All right, next video. I didn't expect to talk about Kristi Noem that long. That made me more mad. Now here's Dan Goldman asking the same, basically the same question. Why do you think, Kristi Noem, that you and Donald Trump get to tell the Supreme Court no? And that's a real question. We are in a constitutional crisis where Republicans are telling the Supreme Court no. You could, even if you're a Republican and you agree with them, where we have to be able to agree is that the Supreme Court has the right to tell them no, or the Supreme Court has the right to rule. They do not have the right to tell them no. So if you agree, that's fine, but you have to admit that what you agree to is that we're not doing the Constitution anymore. The Constitution only matters if we like the rulings.
Stop filibustering.
By gang members of MS-13.
Will you give Mr. Abrego Garcia the due process that the Supreme Court
and Judge Wilkinson has required you to give him.
Braco Garcia is an El Salvador resident who is in his home country. If he were to come back to this country, he would be immediately removed again.
How do you know?
He has received and been treated appropriately.
So he,
sir, and he is not.
How can you say he's been treated appropriately if the Supreme Court has ruled 9-0? 9-0 that he hasn't been treated appropriately. Why is your opinion better and have more authority than the Supreme Court?
Investigators, 2 judges, an immigration court that all said he was MS-13 and was removed from this country.
But you understand, that is you saying that.
This is what's crazy. She says he had due process. The morons in the chat are saying he had due process. The Supreme Court, whose job it is to rule on whether or not he had due process, 9-0 said no, he did not have due process. And this is why it's a constitutional crisis. Anybody who says he had due process, you are in open defiance of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled he did not have due process. He is entitled due process, and that we must facilitate due process. And you dumb dicks who just believe and repeat everything that Donald Trump says, you show up here and you repeat the same dumb shit. He didn't get due process. He had due process in his first 2 cases. If I get arrested 5 times and I get due process the first 4 times, and on the 5th one, I don't get due process, I didn't get due process because I got it the other times. Every time you go to court, you get due process. Every time you are owed due process, you get due process. It is the process that is due. And so when they removed the protections for Abrego Garcia, he had 30 days to appeal. The process that he is due is that he had 30 days to appeal the extradition. And instead, they took him inside of those 30 days. So the law that is on the books that gives him 30 days, they did not allow. That is the process that he was due, and he did not get that process. That's why it was 9-0. Do you know how often the Supreme Court rules 9-0? Fucking never, especially against this president. With this president, you know Clarence Thomas is going to come around and agree with whatever the president says. Even Clarence Thomas is like, oh, guys, there's no work around here. Clarence Thomas didn't even have a way to like get around this. He's like, yeah, I mean, you had 30 days and you took him before the 30 days. What do you want me to do here? And so they just show up in front of a microphone. You do have due process. He did have due process. And you guys go, oh, he had the due process. They said that he had the due process, so we have the due process. You will repeat that he had due process. And then you show up on YouTube and you type into the chat, he had due process. That's how easy it is. They just tell you something, you repeat it, you regurgitate it, you have no fucking clue, but it's not true. The Supreme Court ruled he didn't, and they're the only ones whose opinion matters, by the way. My opinion doesn't matter, your opinion doesn't matter, Dan Goldman's opinion doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is the Supreme Court, and they ruled. So you don't get to go, no, I don't want to. The only reason that Trump can do this is because he has so many of you dumb fucks following him who are willing to repeat dumb fuck shit every day. You're just willing to show up and look like an idiot every day for him. Why? Because all your friends are idiots too, and they're all saying the same shit, and your parents are probably idiots, and your neighbors are probably idiots, and you all say the same dumb shit, and you repeat it to each other all the time, and it becomes truth. That's how cults start. That's how I was part of a religion where it was pretty fucking obvious that it was fake. The guy had found golden treasure, and then he put a rock into a hat, and he looked through the hat, and then he was able to translate Reformed Egyptian into English. And then he created a whole religion. And then he was like, now that I have all this fame, you know what I want to do? I want to start fucking other people's wives, and maybe some children too. And so he's like, hey, guess what, guys? Good news. God told me that I get to have sex with whoever I want. And they're like, wait a minute. And he's like, but remember, I'm the one that talks to God. I found the magic plates. I did it. I did the interpretation. Could I really have done that if I wasn't speaking to God? And they're like, yeah, that's right. That's right. He did do that. So yeah, this is probably what God wants. And then they're like, all right, honey, have a good time. I guess we're not married anymore. And then he started, and then people started writing stories about him. And they're like, this guy's a polygamist. He's fucking other people's wives. And then he's like, what are we going to do about this? And they're like, I've got an idea. Let's burn down the printing press. And so in the middle of the night, they went and they burned down the printing press, the newspaper, who was writing true stories about them. And what did that do? Did that make the people that were following him more or less likely to follow? More. It galvanized them because now they've committed a crime with him. Now they're all living in this alternate reality where really the people who are against you are the people, they're against you because they know that you're right. And you're showing that their religion's wrong. So really they're only writing this stuff about you because they're afraid that your religion is going to be better, even though it was true, which is the same thing about Trump. Even though the Trump campaign absolutely worked with Russia in the 2016 campaign, and it's been proven, and his own FBI confirmed it, you guys will still show up every day and go, Russia, Russia, Russia. Oh, we're still on that Russian shit? We say things that are provably true, and you still don't believe them. Because every time he gets you to double down on a lie, it makes you more likely to support his next lie. And here we are. And now we're in a position where he's saying a doctored photo is real, and this lady's sitting up there going, yeah, it's real. Or I'm not going to look at it. And all of you guys think it's real? And then we say that the Supreme Court rules 9-0 against him, and we all can read, but Stephen Miller comes out and goes, actually, it was 9-0 in his favor. And you guys just started saying it. Actually, it was in his favor. No, it wasn't. This is cult shit. We no longer have a constitution. I just want to be clear on that. The Constitution doesn't fucking matter anymore because you guys said it doesn't matter. We don't care what the Supreme Court says. And we're going to have to figure this out. It's going to get down to it. And by the way, you guys say like, you guys are willing to go to battle for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You guys are willing to get rid of the Constitution rather than admit that you made a mistake with Abrego Garcia. That's where we're at in this country. That we no longer have a working constitution because you guys just won't admit that you made a mistake. You can bring him back. He can have due process. When he's done with due process, you can deport him again. Or for the first time, you can deport him to El Salvador. The very thing that you claim that you did, deporting him, which you didn't do, you can still deport him. Just give him due process. But because you're not allowed in this administration to ever admit that you made a mistake, we now are just like ignoring the Constitution. We're now just saying, fuck the Supreme Court because it's more important that Donnie's pride stay intact. It's weird.
That is you saying that.
That is them saying that. This
no.
is investigators and law
that is
enforcement
you
officers
making that
in the case
determination.
they built against him. If you don't
the
trust our law
court
enforcement
has
officers
considered all that.
and
The judge has
investigators,
considered all that, Madam
who do you
Secretary.
trust if you
and
don't
if you would be
trust judges?
quiet because I'm reclaiming my time, you are not following this court order. But let's focus on.
I also want to say one more thing. She has been trained to do this. Kristi Noem didn't always do this. This is on purpose. They told her, when you go in there today and Democrats ask you a question, you just speak over them. Don't answer the question. Keep repeating these lines, these prepared remarks that we've given you. Keep repeating that and don't answer any questions. This from the Transparency Group.
On the court order, because this opinion also says that to facilitate, which the Supreme Court is requiring, is an active verb. It requires that steps be taken. What steps have you taken to return Mr. Abrego Garcia to allow him to get due process?
Abrego Garcia is in his home country.
What steps
in prison, serving a life sentence? See the lie? See how they can't ever tell you the goddamn truth? He is in prison serving a life sentence for no crime. And El Salvador didn't put him there. And El Salvador didn't accuse him of a crime. And El Salvador didn't say he's a terrorist. He is serving a life sentence because of a tattoo and a shitty witness who nobody believes anymore. Life sentence. By the way, if you're convicted in America of being a gang member, you don't get a life sentence. So they are handing out life sentences to people without due process. And we still have the morons in the chat like, he was here illegally, so he deserves a life sentence. DJ, you must have been here. You must have not been here earlier when I said Kilmar Abrego Garcia is probably a piece of shit, and he is a wife beater. But so is Donald Trump, and you guys simp for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, if we're playing by the same rules, Donald Trump raped and beat his wife. Donald Trump raped and beat a 14-year-old girl, and on his way out, he threw money at her and said, "Pay for an abortion." So if we're going to play by the same rules, where we're going by affidavits in court, then let's play by those rules. But you only play by those rules when it's convenient for you, right? We don't want to talk about the fact that, that Donald Trump raped a 14-year-old girl, do we? Nah, because it's always a lie when it's about Donald Trump. Abrego Garcia is a piece of shit. Not half the piece of shit that Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is an unbelievable piece of shit. He raped a child. 14 years old. He sexually assaulted E.G. and Carol, and 30 other women have come forward and said that he sexually assaulted them too. But we don't believe those, right? But if it happens to be a brown person, we believe it. Explain it. Just one of you explain why affidavits only seem to matter to you when it's somebody that you are defending for Donald Trump. You guys are the ones going down on it. Like, if you want to play the game, let's play the fucking game. Let's play what people have said in affidavits. Let's talk about Donald Trump being a Russian asset. You want to talk about affidavits? Let's talk about Matt Gaetz trafficking children and Donald Trump then putting him up as nominee for Attorney General. Let's talk about that. Why do you think all these people with records are around Donald Trump? Because he gets to control and manipulate them. He brings in criminals so that they can be manipulated, and then they manipulate you and you go with it.
Have you taken?
If your continued advocacy for him were to...
I'm not advocating for him. I'm advocating for a court order, Madam Secretary. The court order says that you must take steps to follow the court order. You are here under oath. What steps have you taken to return Mr. Abrego Garcia pursuant to this court order?
It's got to be extremely discouraging to be one of your constituents, to see you fight for a terrorist like this.
Yeah, see? Never answer a question. Always deflect. Always deflect. It's got to be extremely tough to be a constituent of yours. Yeah, it's got to be tough to be a constituent of yours, knowing that you're just like a dumb, lying moron. Nobody is advocating for Abrego Garcia to not face due process. Nobody is saying that his wife is lying. We're simply saying that you don't get to throw somebody in prison for life for the fuck of it, just because you want to. That's bare minimum. Due process is bare minimum here.
And not fight for them is extremely alarming to me.
I'm fighting for due process, and that's under the Constitution.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz was trafficking a 17-year-old girl. Yeah. Yeah, he trafficked a 17-year-old girl. Yep. Look it up. Again, we're talking about affidavits, right? Because you have to remember that we have to balance this. If you are going to say that Abrego Garcia is a wife beater, then you are relying on an affidavit that has been retracted. His wife took that back. She retracted that. I tend to agree with you that I don't think people make that story up. I tend to agree with you. So my logic applies evenly. My logic says that I think Abrego Garcia is not a very good guy. But if there's affidavits about Republicans, you're like, oh, well, they didn't prove it in court, so it's not true. That's the whole point here. You guys were literally screaming about this all the time. You've been screaming about due process for 4 years with Trump. Trump got ample due process. This guy just didn't. All we're asking is that you give somebody due process. If he is a member of a gang, if he is a terrorist, convict him. But you want us to be okay now with us taking the word of the president or the word of a police officer, and on that word, that's enough to throw somebody in prison for life? You out of your fucking minds, guys? He's got a life sentence, and there's no crime committed. They have not proven a crime at all, and he's got a life sentence. So if we're going to start throwing people in jail for life for abusing their spouse, I'm game. But it better be Donald Trump. Better be Donald Trump, too, if we're going to play that game. F them in their due process. Yeah, fuck you, dude. Like, honestly, like, what kind of bitch shit is that? I was born here, so I deserve more rights. It's bitch shit. Let's see. How much time do we have? 10 minutes? Let me go up here. Yeah, I want to talk about the Christian nationalists. All right, this is Brooks Pottinger. One of the things that I think Trump has really figured out, and kudos to him for figuring this out, I guess, is that bringing in other cults inside of your cult strengthens your cult. And so now what Trump is doing is he's going and he's finding these Christian nationalists who are definitely cults, and he's bringing them to the White House now. Now we're praying. Now we're doing like Christian national shit for government functions.
One other thing on the DC front, they're starting something at the Pentagon called the Secretary's prayer meeting, and it's supposed to be just a monthly prayer meeting to encourage the Christians there to pray, to get a word. And they've invited me to come next week to do the inaugural one. So next Wednesday, I will get to lead a little prayer meeting at the Pentagon. And that's just, again, you just are seeing the cultural shift and hearts submitted to Christ. And it's amazing.
Why is that not indoctrination? Why is that not forcing your beliefs on people? This was one of the debates we had last night. How come it's always indoctrination when it's something that you don't like, but when it's something you agree with, it's not indoctrination? Nobody needs you to pray. Nobody needs you to show up. We don't need to pay our elected officials to have a day of prayer. They should not be paid for that. If they want to take the day off and pray and use their time off to pray, great. We don't need Christian nationalists in the White House praying or in the Pentagon. This is silly. Not a huge deal, but I just don't get it. If this person was Muslim, the Republicans would freak the fuck out. If this was anybody but a Christian, you guys would freak the fuck out because you love indoctrination. It's like your favorite thing. You love cults, you love indoctrination, you love forcing your beliefs on people. You just don't like it if anybody else gets to do it too.
So let's pray for that. Pray for me as I go to minister to some of the military service people there. And yeah.
Man, that is so good.
One other thing on the
ban the guy talking about my family. Sorry, bud. This is real shit. You guys are real psychos. We're not going to talk about my family. I would never show a picture of my family because of psychos like you guys. Ever. What is it? What that booty do? Yeah, that dude's done. We don't talk about my family in here. You literally can say whatever you want to me. You can literally talk about me in any way. You can use it, like I don't care. This is a free space, but we don't talk about people who aren't here. We don't talk about people that are specifically in my family. So that guy's got to go. Here's Charlie Kirk just doing more indoctrination, more lying. Now what we're struggling with here is that we went on the whole, like, again, you guys are obsessed with trans people. Now you're obsessed with furries. So we're just going to lie about some shit here. Here's Charlie Kirk just lying about some shit.
My question is more of curiosity. You raised the point of furries and having litter boxes in schools. So my question is, how far does this mental illness really go? Have teenagers, because I work at a high school, a Christian high school, and I'm well aware of the psyche of a teenager. Have teenagers actually pulled down their pants, squatted over a litter box, and pooped?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and teachers support it. And
No. Show me where this is. He's going to reference a high school here, and I want the Republicans here to do an activity with me. We'll do this.
Then they use their hand to cover it up?
no, they have like the tools, like if it was a cat.
Oh, and then I was like, do they lick their hands afterwards like a kitty cat?
I mean, I'm not
how
sure.
How bad is it?
It's bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm surprised, too. I'm surprised
No, you
and
shouldn't be
shocked.
surprised. And again, you're shocked, and I'm going to be very honest.
And it's appalling.
It means that you have to consume non-mainstream media. Because this is very well known, right, Sage? For those of us, if you guys do not...
What you have to consume non-mainstream media. You have to go to unverified sources. This is cult shit. Let me show you the cult I was in. This is the same shit. Anybody who's been in a cult, this is like this. When we talk about being triggered, like this does trigger me. Let me show you a quote from I've shared this before, but I want to show it. It's the same thing. This guy's name's Dieter. Is this the right one? Dieter Uchtdorf. He's a German who is one of the apostles in the Mormon Church.
It is natural to have questions. The acorn of honest inquiry has often sprouted and matured into a great oak of understanding. There are few members of the church who at one time or another have not wrestled with serious or sensitive questions. One of the purposes of the church is to nurture and cultivate the seed of faith, even in the sometimes sandy soil of doubt and uncertainty. Faith is to hope for things which are not seen but which are true. Therefore, please, my dear brothers and sisters, my dear friends, first, doubt your doubts before you doubt your faith.
That's cult shit. And that's what Charlie Kirk's saying here too. Listen, if you haven't seen this, then you need to start going to unverified sources. And we're going to look at this together. I can't find the source that he's talking about.
It means that you have to consume non-mainstream media. Because this is very well known, right, Sage? For those of us, if you guys do not know this is happening, I encourage you to reevaluate where you get your news from. This is all across the country. Furries are a thing in almost every school district in America, with accommodating litter boxes. Hinsdale High School, Hinsdale North, Hinsdale South. We have Downers Grove North. We have all across the country this is happening. And if you don't know it, I'm not trying to criticize you, make you feel bad, but you are in an information cycle that is not rooted in reality. Thank you.
It's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And this is why people say they don't watch news or pay attention, because it's depressing. Yes, it is. But then look what's happened.
Here's why it's uncomfortable. And we're going to talk about how cults work here. Here's why it's uncomfortable. Because what they show you is shit that like they're telling you that this is a big deal. So this is the school I mentioned in Utah where I grew up, and this is Libs of TikTok. Oh, she's going by Kaya Rychek now, or Chaya. And they said what they said about this school in Utah is that there were furries that were dressed up in furry costumes that were going to the bathroom in litter boxes. And then when they were asked to present evidence, the school said this isn't happening. A very one of the most conservative places in America, by the way. This is Trump country. And the school said it's not happening. This thing that they're talking about is not happening. So then Republicans started circulating this video. Now, is this evidence of furries? This is how this works. So what they do is they show you this video and they go, see? Look at these fucking kids. Like, that kid thinks they're an animal. I've got a kid. Kids do this. I have a niece that used to, like, she was shy, and she used to, like, when she would get nervous, she would make animal noises instead because she just didn't want to talk. But she also was so shy, she didn't want to be like, I don't want to talk. So, like, you'd say something, she'd be like, ruff, ruff. And she'd be like 12, 13 years old. These kids are just playing. She's pretending to be an animal. Every last one of us has pretended to be an animal. But what they do is they start with this context that these kids are being treated like animals and that they're allowed to identify as animals. And they sell you this whole story, and then their whole school does a walkout. They have all these kids do a walkout in school. And then the school comes and they say, there's no evidence. We've never seen any evidence. And then the people who led the walkout post this video as if this is evidence. This is evidence of nothing. And that's why Sage Steele, what she said at the end was really, really interesting. She's like, yeah, people don't want to consume it because it's confusing. Yup. It's confusing because it's not true. I looked up Hinsdale High School furries. That's the high school that he mentioned here. And so far, here's what we find. Here's the walkout of the kids. This, by the way, not that big of a walkout. There's like, I don't know, 40 kids here. By the way, they did their walkout in front of a Mormon church because nothing says cult like doing your cult shit in front of a cult church. And here's their walkout. So they post this. And you know what the school said? The school said that it was kind of a peaceful day because all of the people that were bullying the children who at recess pretend they're animals and play games, they stopped getting bullied that day. But because Republicans are sick and they sexualize everything, they've turned this into a section. Furries are a very specific thing. Furries are like a sexual kink. Dressing up in an animal costume as a child and pretending to be an animal is not the same thing as furries, but they say furries because it has a sexual connotation to it. And so they tell you that they use furries so you think of sex and you're like, oh, they're getting our kids. They're not. Your kids are just pretending to be animals because that's what children do. But they have over-sexualized and over-politicized everything. So your kids can't even go to school and play make-believe without Charlie Kirk thinking about sex, without Sage Steele thinking about sex. This is a you problem, conservatives. Things that aren't sexual, you make sexual. You sexualize everything because you've been taught to repress all of your sexuality. So it comes out in moments like this. So you think something that's unusual to you is automatically sexual. I'm just saying, Twitter is a right-wing hellscape. And Charlie Kirk is telling me I need to go outside of my searches. And I'm using his search terms, Hinsdale High School furries. And I can't find anything. I keep seeing the same protest. And this isn't Hillsdale or Hinsdale. This is Nebo School District in Utah. This is in Springville. Go look it up. It's fucking conservative. This is Scotland. Nebo. Snopes checked it. And this is what's crazy too, is that Snopes will fact check something and then you guys think because if Snopes says it's false, then you're like, well, it must be real because you've been conditioned to think that everything that you say is real. And so if somebody says it's not real, you automatically stop listening to them. So the Republicans in here, the MAGA that's in here, they'll be like, yeah, Snopes has been proven that they're fake. Do you see how this works? They just call everything fake news. Where is this, Charlie? I went where you asked me to go, Charlie. Here we go. This is Tennessee Republicans. Let's see what this is.
Children identifying as cats or dogs.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Start that over.
Do charter schools allow the furries to come as a furry into class, which is children identifying as cats or dogs?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just Tennessee.
We're hearing that that's a problem across the state now, so and I think it's a big problem. But anyway, thank you very much.
Everybody says the same thing. It's a big problem. It's happening. It's happening. This is how like lies get spread. They're all telling you it's happening. She's absolutely fucking convinced that it's happening. She asks a teacher or an administrator, is it happening? No, it is not happening. Well, I believe it is. Why do you believe it is? Because other people keep telling you that it's happening. Because Joe Rogan went on his podcast and lied about people using a litter box. But where's my evidence, Charlie Kirk? I'm looking for it.
Fortunately, I'm hearing this in my rural districts. Maybe schools are not fully disclosing that they are allowing.
Oh, the schools are hiding. The reason we can't find evidence is because the schools are hiding it.
Children who identify as snakes, cats, whatever, they're providing litter boxes for the cats. Obviously, it's very disruptive to the learning process.
See a pattern here? See a pattern on who's testifying? You think, with all due respect, look, you see somebody that looks like this, and I have a sneaking suspicion they're not really up on what's happening at junior highs.
If a child has...
Notice, has anybody so far given an example Or is it all them just saying that they believe it? But this is the type, if you start watching this video and you already think this is happening, this is just confirmation bias. You hearing the same thing over and over again makes you believe it. Now ask yourself, if you're going to be an honest Republican right now, ask yourself, have you ever seen any evidence that this is happening? Evidence, not somebody saying it's happening, not somebody who comes to a school board and is like, my child told me this story. Is there any evidence ever of this happening?
As that much of a self-identity issue, they probably...
All right, I don't know. Nothing there. What's this?
Middle school in Payson, Utah.
We're back to Payson, Utah. Sorry. It's in, I don't think that was Payson. I think it's Reno. There we are. We're in Utah again. Now we've got like DMs. Where's this evidence? Charlie Kirk told me what to search and look for evidence. Where is it? What's this?
A member of the furry fandom. Though they've been a furry for over a decade, they have their own opinions.
All right, so that's an adult. That's a kink. You can have a kink, so that's not in schools.
Recognize Miss Mansfield, especially, who is the best teacher my
Here's Libs of TikTok. Certainly Libs of TikTok has something more than just somebody telling a story, right?
daughter has ever had. She lets her be as weird as she is, and she encourages it, and she enjoys it, and that is really meaningful to me and my family, because not having like a kid who's so... She calls my daughter Ellie Cat because during...
She calls her Ellie Cat. We have to stop this. You cannot allow your teacher to call your child Ellie Cat.
attendance, my daughter meows instead of saying here. And she doesn't make her feel bad about it. She just embraces.
What do Republicans say? We need to force that child. We should shame that child, and that child can't say meow. I'm telling you, my niece is the sweetest. She's 18 now. She's grown. She's a wonderful person. One of the best human beings I've ever met. She is painfully shy. She has social anxiety, and it was a coping mechanism for her. And imagine if instead of just allowing her to do that, we would have bullied her. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're advocating for? We're going to bully people now? That's the Republican strategy. We have to bully kids into being who we want them to be. That's real America. We got to get back to our roots of not letting people be individuals and bullying them out of things. You know what you're going to do? You're going to do one of two things. You're going to cause that kid to either never trust you and feel pain and just bully them into submission, or you're going to cause that kid to go the other way and they're going to like act out even more. But the solution, it seems to be with conservatives about everything, is bully people into submission. We don't like your religion, Muslims. We're going to bully you out of it. We don't like immigrants. We're going to bully you. We don't like trans people. We're going to bully you. We don't like gay people. We're going to bully you. We don't like liberals. We're going to bully you. We don't like critical race theory. We're going to bully you. We don't like DEI initiatives. We're going to bully you. It's just bully, 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 bully. I'm going to leave it on this, but the cultural difference between the conservatives and the progressives is as simple as this: punching up versus punching down. Liberals punch up. That's why comedy historically is progressive or liberal. Good comedy has always been on the left because they punch up. They punch the powerful. And the powerful and the conservatives, they punch down. That's why conservative comedy has always been dog shit. And even the biggest comedians in the world right now that you might consider conservative, like Shane Gillis, go watch his comedy. He doesn't punch down. He punches up. That's why like conservatives had like a little rebirth of comedy. You know why you had a rebirth of comedy? Because Democrats were in office. So when you punched at Joe Biden, it was punching up. It appeared to be punching up. When you punched against mask mandates, people could recognize that was authoritarian. So when you made fun of people or your comedy revolved around mask mandates, it was punching up. But the comedians that get canceled are the people that are punching down, that are consistently punching down. Somebody like Dave Chappelle, who isn't all the way canceled. And frankly, look, I think his comedy is, I think some of it is certainly problematic. And I think he crossed a line, and I think he felt that. And that's what comedy is supposed to be, right? You're supposed to be able to get to the line and not cross it. And when you cross the line, society lets you know that you crossed the line. And you can either retreat, or you can do like the conservative thing where you double down. You're like, fuck you, society, I'll show you. And then your comedy career is over. That's why Bill Burr, that's why Dave Chappelle, that's why Shane Gillis, even though they've had moments where they got canceled, they were able to learn from that and be like, oh, I'm not going to cross that line. I'm not going to punch down. But that's the difference between our ideology and yours. You guys consistently want to go after marginalized communities. You consistently want to hurt poor people. You consistently want to hurt women. You consistently want to hurt minorities. You consistently want to hurt people who identify differently than you, or who have a sexuality that you don't view as wholesome. And on our side, we're like, I've just spent 3.5 hours only criticizing the people in power. That's our role. A good citizen criticizes their government. A cuck sits there and laughs while their government punches down and strips rights and strips funding away from poor people and hands it off to their billionaire donor friends. It's not cool. It's not edgy. You're not, like, your time of being an edgelord is over. When Trump won, that ended for you. You got to be cool for like a minute. You got to be on like the cool side for a minute, the popular side for a minute. But what you're finding out real quick is that nobody else wants to be you. Like, you were just along for the ride. You weren't the movement. Be better. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time here on YouTube and Twitch. Let me get a couple comments out of the way, and then we'll get out of here. In rural, though, Jay, they have higher poverty, violent crime, and so on. Oh, here it is. I think I would have in the wrong order. Amy said, why did Trump have a Muslim ban his last term, and now he's making deals with them? Republicans have weird fantasies. Alyssa, thank you for joining the dollar train there. Amy said, we're praying for him to be there. Why, if he's there? Tanya, thank you for the donation. I think I got that one. Go Cash App real quick. All right, we're good. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you tomorrow morning, every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube and Twitch. Thank you guys so much for the support today. Republicans, thanks for being here. It was nice having you. It's always a pleasure. You can catch the replays on YouTube, and you can catch clips. I'm going to be putting out more clips using AI. Sorry. So you'll see those on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Go out there and fight with Republicans. Just remember that they're dumb, so it's not that hard. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Stay cute and cool and have a great summer.